All right, everybody. We back at it again. This time we are downtown for real. We're back in the studio. We have been, it's been a couple of weeks since we've been in the studio. And I tell you what, I've kind of missed it. I like it. We got a guest tonight with us that is, he's one of those guys that is, I guess you'd call a perfectionist. That's the way I could see it, because I mean, he takes a 4-letter word and goes to the exemplary end of it, whether it's the F word or whether it's the C word with a U and the L and the L. So that produces good dogs.
Need to send him one of them Boars N Broads hat that says Cole Hard.
Says Cole Hard. This man ain't no shame in his game. And I guarantee you, when he cuts the mud flat mafia dogs loose, they're going to get deep and they're going to be treed. This is Cane Creek Kennels, Mr. Jeremy Gardner. Loud.
Hey, fella, how are y'all?
We're doing good, my man.
Oh, yes.
We appreciate you getting on here tonight. We have tried this a couple of times.
The SD card curse.
Yeah, man, we've had some issues, and Jeremy has been an absolutely freaking awesome about it, because it's like last time I think we got struck by lightning while we were talking.
Yeah, heard the lightning through the headphones.
Yeah, and the first time we couldn't. I don't know. I just wouldn't work.
I had no clue.
So this one's going to work, because Jeremy's recording too, because he's got his new deal coming out, his own segment of podcast through, what is it, the Hunt Dog Public?
Yeah,
right?
The Hunt Dog Public podcast. That's right. I'm joining up with the HDP crew. I'll be doing a one a month segment on. I'm going to try to stick primarily to pup raising, pup starting, and training. That's kind of that's what I like to do. I think there's an avenue for that.
Yeah,
and,
I agree.
I mean, it's foundational. If you can't do that,
you can't
you're
have
not
dogs.
going to have any dogs unless you just buy them all.
That's right. I get asked, but because I mess with a lot of pups and I start a lot of pups, just because of the way I've got my I hate to say facility, but I've got my place set up here for raising pups.
It's a facility.
It's a facility.
Like, for real. From what I've seen, that's what it is.
Look like a fella that took care of his stuff and thought about where he put it.
It's methodical. It's planned. It's neat. It's organized. And I haven't even got the full go of it yet. You know, we only came over that one time, but just from what I've seen, like pictures and stuff that we see on social media, dude, it looks great. Like I said, I'd definitely call it a facility if I was you.
Well, I'm a measure twice, cut once type fella. And I'm a little anal on stuff that I do. When it comes to building my starting pen, and I built that just to start my own pups. Just to have a place to raise pups. If I have a litter or if I buy a pup or two from somebody, I don't want them sitting in a pen, till they're 4, 5, 6 months old and ready to start. I wanted to have a place that I could throw them in, and for the first, 6 months of their life, they don't know 4 walls. They know an acre and a half of ditches, mud, sticks, acorns falling, mosquitoes and bugs, and coons and squirrels and possums walking around.
That's.
I'm if somebody that can do that, you're so far ahead of the curve when it comes time to start your pup.
I agree.
Do you think that's because of the desensitization? Like most of the time, like you said, a pup just knows 4 walls, and so if you bring them out there, a lot of times all those things you just listed are very overstimulating to that puppy. Or do you think it just kind of helps them put it together and then start earlier? What are your thoughts?
Well, not necessarily. I don't think it necessarily helps them start earlier, but it's the majority of pups, right? And I know this because I get asked these questions on social media. What's the right age to start my pup? And I say, well, what have you been doing? How old is it? What have you been doing with it? And most of them are like, oh, well, it's 4 months old. And I said, well, what have you done? Well, I haven't done much yet. I've been waiting on the weather to get right or whatever. And that pup's 4 months behind as far as I'm concerned, because odds are they're not going to start right then taking it to the woods. So in the next month or so, when they start walking their pup, whether it's a squirrel dog pup or a tree dog pup, everything they're doing at say 4 to 6 months old is brand new. First time that pup's ever seen it. Odds are it's not going to just run right out there, be comfortable, and go to tree, right? Yeah. But for me, at 8 weeks old, I'm throwing them in my starting pen, especially if I've got a bunch of them. You know, I'm not going to take one 8-week-old puppy and throw them in that pen by itself. Yeah. I try to always have multiples. But at 8 weeks old, 10 weeks old, I'm throwing them in that pen, and I'm going down. I feed at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m., give or take. Yeah. And so I'm down in that pen no less than twice a day. I'm making the rounds, I'm walking around. And then by the time them pups actually leave the pen and go to the woods, they've seen it all. There's no noises that you know. I live so close to this big farm operation that's behind me. When the combines and the big tractors and planters, when they're coming down the turn row headed back to the fields, I mean, it ain't 200 yards from my starting pen, and them things are noisy. They're beating and banging. Them pups hear that. They hear trucks go by every day, you know, going up down the farmers working, and you know, they can hear tractors, and they hear us up at the house beating and banging and shooting or whatever we're doing. And you know, there's squirrels coming in them. If I've got feeders in there, there's squirrels coming through it. By the time I'm ready to go to the woods, there's nothing new to that pup other than we're going somewhere different. Yeah. So I mean, to me, I'm miles ahead.
How do you introduce them to the mobility part, like in getting in the box? Do you put them on the side by side, maybe ride them around the area, or I didn't know how that worked on that part.
I use my side by side. I want to make, so where I live behind my property there's a bottom. It's about, give or take a couple hundred acres. It's about 5,000 acres behind me. Okay. And majority of it is row crops with tree lines and patch woods. It'll be 20, 30, 40 acres, you know, of woods, and then it'll be row crop on the other side. For the last 3 years, it's been corn. This year they actually planted cotton, but I can leave my driveway. I live at the end of a dead end road that's off a dead end road. Yep. So I can every day I can go down and load a pup. And another reason I like to have two or multiple is because you put one pup for the first time in the dog box and go riding. It's going to be nervous. It's going to be scary. But if it's got a partner, it's already been, you know, living together in this big starting pen in the woods. You put them in a box together, and I drive up and down my driveway a couple times. And I'll do that every day for a week until I feel like they're comfortable. Mm-hmm. And I try to make it fun for them. And then I just, you know, I try to do it during the day, you know, even for coon hounds. I start everything I do during the day because it's just, you know, it's a lot more comfortable. Mm-hmm. I try to think the most simplest way of doing everything. Like, you know, if I'm going to introduce anything to a pup for the first time, I want to do it during the day when they see they're more comfortable, just like you would with a kid, you know? Yeah. I mean, you're not going to take a kid hunting for the very first time in the woods in its life at night. Most of the time, you're going to do it during the day, deer hunting, squirrel hunting, you know, or they can see sticks and you can tell them, hey, you know, watch right here for snakes, or, you know, whatever.
You want them to like it and enjoy it and be encouraged. And I think a lot of people don't think like that, Jeremy. They think, well, this dog is off a good stock and we're going to throw it out here and it better go. And like you said, it's asking a lot from a pup that, you know, like you said, especially do it by itself. Coon dogs and stuff, taking them out, you know, 4 or 5 months old at night by themselves and just kicking them out, you know, man, it's got to be stressful on them.
Oh, yeah, you know it is, and 90% of the time they're going to stand at your feet. I mean, you're going to get a special pup every now and then that's just going to be the exception to the rule, but, I mean, they don't come along that often. Majority of all questions I get are, how do you make your pups go hunt, right? My pups, you don't make a dog or a pup go hunting. Yeah. My pups have been running in an acre and a half there, you know, the first 3 or 4, 5, 6 months of their life. Every day and night, they're running around down there without me. They don't need me to do nothing at this point.
Yeah.
All they need from me is a ride. You know, I used to tell folks if my dog could send text messages and had a driver's license, they wouldn't even need me at all. You know, I mean,
just tell them, go get it done, boys, and let me know what's happening.
That's right. I mean, and that is, I get so many questions like that. Not that I know everything, and not that I think I'm somebody, but because I post so much on social media, and I do have, I mean, whether it sounds conceited or not, whatever, I do have a pretty good bit of success with pups because I spend in my family, we spend so much time. Dog hunting and the dog life, it's not something we do in our spare time.
That's what you do. That's it's who you are.
This is our life every day. My wife has horses. We've been together 26 years, and we've both had horses way longer than we've known each other. We both grew up with horses and hunting dogs. And it's our spare time is we cut grass in our spare time. All right? we don't go hunting in our spare time.
That's
because we got to go hunting. You have to hunt the dogs.
It's the same way with us. And I get it. And I think you can tell a lot about, somebody that's like that, like what you just said, the relevance of it is we cut our grass. I'd rather go hunt every day and wade through knee-high grass than to have to cut the daggum grass and not be able to put my dogs in the woods or be able to go hunt.
Absolutely.
It's more important to get those pups and those young dogs out there and get them some reps in than it is to keep it manicured.
Oh yeah,
it is. And when I say that it's our family's way of life. My wife has got to be the best woman in the world because the days that she knows I'm going to go hunting and the grass, just say the grass needs to be cut since we're talking about grass. She'll say, go on and get your dogs done. I'll start cutting grass. I'll cut it because we got a lot of grass. I'll cut as much as I can. And during the summertime on Saturday nights, she has horse shows. Mm-hmm. So, I'll say, hey, look, y'all, you've got a show tonight. Go ahead and go. I'll make sure all the horses fed, the dogs is fed, whatever dinner. I'll clean up from dinner. You go do what you're going to do. And I've got the farm and the animals took care of. Go do your thing. So when I need to do my thing, I can. I mean, we are a team. We're a good team. But it's because this is not our hobby. It works for us like that. She is as much, dogs and horses are our life. That's it. And, our kids naturally.
You didn't want to say the truth on that. You were really fixing to say she's the one that starts these puppies and does all the work, and I just get the credit. I know what you were finna to say, man. I know what you were finna to say, brother. But no, man, you listen. You like you said, you're beyond lucky and blessed to have a family like that. I mean, I have a big family, and the majority of us, we all enjoy the animals and the dogs and stuff, but part of them, they don't put in the effort. Like
two of us love it.
Two of us. Yeah. Me and Nate absolutely love it. And now don't get me wrong. At any given time, all we got to do is just say, hey, y'all feed today. We got to go do this or whatever. No problem. But having the full family effect in there, dude, that's got to be awesome.
It is. And it even helps as far as the puppy starting and training.
Yeah.
And I don't even like to use the word training, but I mean, it is what it is. But, I don't train, like, I don't put handles on pups, and I see it talked all the time on these social, on Facebook, people talking about putting a handle and making sure my dog can lead and load. And
oh yeah.
We
talk about it all the time.
Yeah. I don't teach any of that. I don't specifically spend time teaching a dog how to lead and load and come to me when called. My wife and kids do that just by spending enough time.
Yeah.
Your kid goes out every day and helps you feed. They're calling that puppy's name 1,000 times a day because they're kids and they're puppies. By the time I'm ready to go to the woods, that dog knows its name. I don't even got to say it.
Yeah. Pat Lewin said a while back, he said the best way to leash break a puppy is find a 5 or 6 year old and hand it to him and tell them, walk this puppy. He said, and they'll have it leash broke in just a few minutes where it'll take you forever to do it. They'll do it way quicker. And that's true. Like you said, the kids and the repetitions of it.
And that's how I've started leash breaking our dogs. Every time I go and I see a kid walking a dog, I watch how they walk it. And I basically copy that. I act like a 6-year-old. I just fucking put my head forward and stomp my little feet and whatever. And when that dog don't do what I want to do, I pick it up. I might pet it a little. I basically copy the kids.
Yeah.
And that's like,
it works.
Because I've heard that so much. It's like, if you want a dog to be leash broke, give it to a child. And I was like, okay, well, what is the child doing? It's just being more hard headed than the dog.
That's it.
Which is way easier said than done.
Yeah. Because some dogs are going to be way worse.
They are. Like I said, I look for the simplest solution. And just from experience, a puppy will take up and relate to a child way faster than me because I'm tall, I've got a big, deep voice, and I'm loud. Everything I do in life, I'm loud and upfront. Probably obnoxious, probably too loud most of the time. and for pups, a lot of times it kind of, they might even be a little standoffish just because of that.
Yeah.
But my youngest boy, Briar, is 9. He's closer to their level. He talks, real soft. He don't have a big, deep voice. He talks in a kid's voice to him, and you can stand me and him side by side and let a puppy go, and odds are, if we're both calling its name, odds are it's going to him. Right? Yeah. So why not just? It also gives him an opportunity to be out there with me. For one, we're spending time together. Same thing I did. My oldest son graduated high school last week, and I brought him up the exact same way as my youngest one, letting him handle all the pups, letting him pick them up, put them in a dog box. He's having fun. The puppy's having fun. And now the puppy wants to get in the box because it thinks it's going to get to play with the kid.
Yeah.
They do all that for me. That's the simplest solution instead of spending time specifically trying to train for leading and loading and all that crap. I mean, I get to spend time with my kid and he's learning. When I'm gone, my boys are going to know how to do all this. My wife knows how to do all this. Yep. My wife worked for a vet for 9 years, working her way through accounting school. So she's a dog person just like I am. And of course, raising your kids around dogs and horses and cows, and it's just what we do. Like I said, it's not a hobby for us. It's a way of life. Everything we do, if we're going to go out to eat. Oh, somebody asked us if we wanted to go camping a couple weeks ago, and I said, "Look, we don't. We'll go late for a day, but every now and then we have to make arrangements ahead of time to go camping because we arrange a day trip around what time our horses need to be fed and my dogs need to be fed. So Sunday we drove over to Bay Springs, right on the Alabama line, went to the lake for the day. And my sister-in-law went. She said, well, what time do y'all plan on leaving? I said, well, we usually feed horses right before dark, so we need to be back. It's a 2-hour drive home. So everything we do revolves around when our animals need to be took care of because they can't go to the store and buy their own feed.
That's right. That's exactly
right. We everything we do in life revolves around the dogs and horses. It's just, like I said, I hate to keep saying it, but it's just, it's our way of life.
There's too many people that don't understand that part.
They're on the fence about it.
And even some of them, they think they really think that that they're at that level, but they're not. Like you said, they're at the beach. They're gone for a week, and they said, "Well, so and so stopped by to feed the dogs." No, you have to hire somebody to stay there.
Oh yeah,
or you have to have somebody there. Everything revolves just when me and Nate go out of town, and we have. I've got 2 other sons and a whole slew of daughters and my wife. I got to make sure there's 2 or 3 people at the house to take care of this stuff. Like you said, it revolves around it. It's a lot of stuff to do. And I just don't think people actually understand how big a deal it is.
Yeah.
No, they don't. And I get that there's folks out there that it's not their life. It's their hobby. And I'm that's fine. It's just not for us, and if without this sounding wrong, which if it does, whatever.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. The folks that truly live this way of life always have better dogs.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when you love something so much that you make it is your life, you're going to put more effort into that. I mean, when I go to work, I told somebody the other day, I listen to podcasts all day long, every day, when I'm at work. I'm an auto diesel mechanic. I can pull the engine out of y'all's truck, take it apart, put it back together, and put it in without ever even thinking about it, because it's what I do every day. While I'm doing that, I'm thinking dogs, or I'm listening to dogs, or I'm on the phone
about them dogs because you love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm on the phone talking dogs. The guys at work tell folks, none of them. I just recently got one of the guys I work with. I got him and his son a young dog to just get into coon hunting with, and been helping them out. But other than that, nobody at work are hunters. They may deer hunt every now and then, and they'll tell you they know as much about dogs and coon hunting as I do, because they have to hear it all day long, every day. That's all I thought.
Cool.
It's the same way with my wife and my best friend.
Yeah.
My best friend, he'll be going and talking with people. He said, you'd be surprised how many dog experts out there that don't know shit.
Yeah.
He said, and I don't know anything. He said, and I'll hear him saying something. He said, and I'll have to correct him real quick. He said, because you taught me better. He said, I know the rules. He said, I don't even realize I know them.
He's been around since he was a kid.
Yeah.
And I think this year's first time he went and killed a hog with us, wouldn't he?
Yeah. He's been a couple times on a hunt, just a lot of times just didn't line up.
And, but this year we went, but like you said, he's around so much, and all he hears is dogs. So it's a byproduct, you said, the guys that work with you, I'm sure those guys are the same way. They probably go somewhere when somebody's talking about a dog or this or that, and they're thinking, no, that guy's crazy. You don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. My wife is, sometimes my wife, she don't get on Facebook much. Of course I do. I get on there, and it's Facebook for me is life is so busy that back in the day, after school, me and my buddies, we didn't have phones, cell phones, none of that. We would get on bikes and we would all meet every day at the park and either go riding or we'd hang out, play ball, whatever we were doing. You can't do that anymore because this life is so busy. But in the evening times, I can get on Facebook, and to an extent, you can do the same thing. You can get a group of your buddies on there and you can BS with each other and, back and forth. And so that's really what I use the Facebook platform
for, the camaraderie.
Yeah.
Yes. And my wife gets on there, and of course she's on a lot of the groups because she likes to get on there and just read. And sometimes when I'll come in from hunting or whatever, and she'll already be in the bed. She'll be on her phone. I'll slip in, shower, and get out of the shower and lay in the bed. She'll go, "Did you see that dumbass, what he said on that such and such post?" I said, "Yes," but she goes, "He must not have had dogs very long."
Yeah, that's hilarious. And my wife, she did not come from a hunting background, or they fished a little bit. She loves to fish, and she's the same way now. It's then got to where, like, she runs the store for us most of the time, and over the course of 6 good months, 8 months, she's learned so much about dogs now, like way more than what she did. And she done the same thing the other day. I don't even remember what it was. She was like, so-and-so was posting something about breeding a dog and doing this and blah, blah, blah. And she got on there and commented. She's like, well, why would you keep breeding this dog? This dog quit doing whatever it was doing. I think it was a dog the guy said it didn't want to start, but it had the right papers, and so they were going to breed it, and if anybody was interested, let them know. She was like, well, if the dog ain't started and it's 3 years old, sounds like you need to just take it on down to the back. And I'm like, I told her, I was like, don't do that. Just but I think it's hilarious. I love it because it's like she's listening, even though she's not. She doesn't, even
though she hates it, quote unquote.
Yeah, exactly. She
never says that.
She likes her house dogs. Yeah. She don't care for the hunting dogs because she knows what happens in our sport. It's a rough sport.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because today, this evening, I came straight home from work and I went straight out to the barn, got all the horses and fed the chickens, fed the dogs, fed and watered, fresh water for everybody. And I got it done before she ever got home. That way, when she came in the past 4 years, I've been learning how to cook so that I can help her with dinner more.
Mm-hmm.
So we jumped in the kitchen and we're, working on dinner. And while we're cooking dinner, I'm talking dogs. And a certain dog came up. She says, well, what are they going to do with that dog? I said, God, babe, I don't know. Probably, it probably nothing. They'll probably just sit in the kennel. And she's like, well, if it's not worth a crap. And now she's a dog. I mean, she's a dog lover. She worked for a vet for 9 years. She said, if it's just going to sit in a pen and not do nothing and never get taken out, they should probably just call it. And I'm like, yes, exactly.
Yes.
You get it. You don't even get it, but you get it.
That's great, because there's so many people. That's a word that is despised. That's a word that people cringe at, the word cull. And because the majority of people that are misinformed, there's several ways you can cull. There's only one way I cull. And I'm sure it's about the same thing with you. It is.
I'm sure it is.
You know what I mean? So, but there are other ways there. And I get that, and that's fine. But a lot of people are misinformed, and they think that there's only one way to do it. And it's a harsh thing and blah, blah, blah. I think a harsh thing is, like you said, you got a dog that just sits in a kennel. It doesn't do anything. It never gets an opportunity to do anything. And they don't breed it. They don't touch it. They don't play with it. They don't do nothing with it. To me, that's more cruel than anything.
It is. It's a prison sentence.
Yeah. I've got dogs right now that are great dogs that we're still thinning down. There's nothing wrong with them at all. I've got too many. And that's the hard facts. I always said I would never be one of those guys that says, oh, I got too many dogs, I need to move some. No, it's a fact. I've got too many good dogs that
we want to keep the great ones and breed those. And
I gotta
get some better ones.
Gotta have some room.
Yes.
And these dogs that I'm talking about would be what a lot of people would consider a finished dog. And I'm one of those that's on a line about the whole finished deal as far as from the hog dog stuff. I think a dog is always evolving and should always be learning at some point in time. And then, they might be a dog that can do all of it and they're very consistent.
Yeah. There's always a smarter pig, and there's always
they got to learn.
There's always something.
When I say it's a hog dog, that's probably what 99% would consider finished. These dogs are hog dogs. And so I'm going to send them to somebody who needs one to either help them better their program, or they're starting out and they need a good dog. It's not about selling them and trying to make money. It's about trying to better what you have. And you can't do that when you have dogs just sitting with a prison sentence.
We'll be back after a quick break.
We would like to interrupt this episode to take a moment to thank our sponsors and friends of Dixie Doggers Podcast. Southern Cross Cut Gear, Boars N Broads, Hardcore Hog Dogs and Cut Gear, Showtime Premium Pet Food, Animal Housing Solutions, Tuskers Magazine, American Doghorn Association, 4L Kennels, Hogbang.com, The Boar's Nest, Crockett Taxidermy, Mud Creek Hog Baying. A big shout out to all those people and companies who help make us who we are. Thank y'all.
You can't, and I know I say this a lot, and people probably they either get tired of me saying it or they think I'm just trying to make myself sound whatever. But when you get to a point in your dogs, you will never have a great dog if you just keep good dogs. All right, and there are people starting out. There are people starting out that need those good dogs.
Yes.
Right. But for a man, just for me, all right, I'm going to speak just for me only. Where I'm at in my life with my dogs is I only want the great dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I do not keep good dogs. I've probably culled more good dogs than some people have owned, and I've probably culled some a little too early, but I know what I want in a dog, and I know what a great dog is. I've had them. I've hunted with them. I know they're out there. You have to go through enough to get it. So keeping those good dogs, well, I got a little money in them. I really don't, I'll just keep it around. It will tree a coon, or it will tree a squirrel. It will bay a hog, but
Yep.
I'm just going to keep it because I got a lot of this. My kids like it. My wife likes it. I'll just keep it around. Well, that's BS.
It is. It is.
Making excuses.
And that's all you're
Yes.
doing. I think hog hunters, well, I'm going to be just like, I'm going to do the same thing you did. Speaking for me as a hog hunter, I have had great dogs over and over and over again. And I've had some extremely good dogs, not just good dogs, but extremely good dogs. And I've had the whole pack wiped out in one hunt. And I think that was what was wrong with me. Like, seriously, I felt like I got a problem, man. Like, when you have 40 head of dogs on average, and I can go out there and clip up any single one of them and do it, every one of them will do it. Every one of them. And do it well. I was hoarding them. It's because, like, well, what if I have a hunt tonight and I get 2 or 3 dogs wrecked, or they don't make it back? So I got to have more just in case. Well, that just in case, I'm always having to train dogs, or not train them, but I'm always having to hunt young dogs, and I can't hunt my older dogs, or I got to hunt my older dogs and I can't hunt these young dogs, or if I got pup, it's not working. So I've got too much. I got too much there, and I can't do it. And I can't give them the right amount of time that each one of them need. To even the dogs that are really good, they can't be great dogs if I'm not getting them to that level, or
That's
giving
right.
them the opportunity.
That's right.
And
You don't
it's
have-
selfish. It's being selfish. It's bullshit. It's what it is. It's me making excuses. That's the honest truth.
It is.
Oh,
Well,
man,
I'm
I
the
don't
same
even like
way.
this. Oh, I don't like saying that. Oh,
I'm not in the same situation y'all in, because I don't have any hogs in my county. I don't even have to worry about my dogs getting on hogs over here. So I don't have to keep that many dogs.
Yeah.
But there's a lot slimmer chance that I'm going to lose. I'm not going to go out and lose a whole pack of dogs to a couple big rank hogs.
that's right.
So I have a better opportunity to work 1 or 2 dogs to get them to see if they're going to be great dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have, like you said, I don't have 40 on my lot. That's a lot of dead young dogs to try to.
That's what we're down to.
Wow.
Last summer we were at 59 when I got home from college, beginning of June,
Mm-hmm.
and then we had thinned down to, at the lowest, I think I got down to 38 by September, and then we've stayed between 38 and 43.
Well, that's because we got the Kimmer pups and stuff.
Oh yeah, we pick up a couple dogs.
Well,
we're
we're changing avenues a little bit too, and so that's one reason. Having a breeding program to actually mimic a breed, recreate a breed. I had to have 3 different breeds, and you got to have enough of them to do it. It's a whole bunch of stuff I don't even need.
And when we test dogs, and then we say, hey, we're going to try this style of dog out. Well, let's try this bloodline. So you get the whole litter. You don't just get one puppy, you get the whole litter.
Yeah, if I get a pup, I'm going to try to get the whole litter. If you got 2 or 3 whole
litters that you get every year, and then you produce one, it don't take long to have that many dogs at all.
Yeah, I can see ridiculous. That. But especially either keeping the whole litter or buying the whole litter. I can see where, like I said, I don't need that. I don't for coon hunting. I don't need.
I don't see where.
I feel like with coon hunting, there's just only so many ways to do it, and I feel like hog hunting, there's so many ways to do it.
Yeah, you can, because like I said, you got dogs that are just rig dogs. They're going to ride the top, strike off the box. You road hunt. You got dogs that you just walk hunt. They're short range dogs. Then you got dogs that that cast. You got dry cast dogs. There's so many different styles, and
I feel like you have that in coon hunting. It's just like but there's only like a select few of those styles of dogs that is just super prevalent.
Yeah.
Whereas hog hunting, it's more about where you're at and
and
your
we
hogs.
travel
Right.
a lot. When you coon hunt a lot around where you live at, correct?
Yeah.
Like right there. See, we got to travel. And I'm not saying that coon hunters don't travel, because Lord knows I know guys that they're on the road all the time.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's because they've put all that time into one or two dogs, and they've got those dogs really, really showing out. We don't really get to do that with hog dogs. We could, but we don't. And that's what we've changed to. And I'm not talking about hog hunters as a whole. I'm talking about me personally. And that's where I got to get back to have the great dogs. I got to take these really, really good dogs and let them do their thing. If I don't, man, I'm wasting them. You know, I'm never going.
Oh,
they're
yeah,
never going to
yeah.
be full potential.
That's right. That's right. That's why I tell folks, you know, if you want a great dog, you got to get rid of them good ones. And for coon hunters, most folks are, you know, I mean, for lack of a better term, weekend warriors. They either can't hunt 7 nights a week, or they're not going to, or they don't want to. You know, and they're not as big into it as I am, and that is fine. But they're not going to have as good a dog as the guys that get out there and grind night after night, any condition, any weather. For me, fortunately, I don't have to travel to hunt. I can hunt 7 nights a week and never hunt the same place every night. You know, I've got some small patches of woods. I've also got a lot of big patches of woods, which is one reason why I've always kept a cur dog around.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can dump a dog in 7,500 acres, or I can dump a dog in 20 acres and still get the job done. You know,
No,
but
the cur dogs, you got Kimmers, right?
Yes, yeah. I don't have. The only cur dogs I have are Kimmer stock mountain curs. I don't have any tree and curs. I don't have any original mountain cur stock on my place.
I got you. The reason I'm saying that, you know, we had a topic we were going to touch on about the hound versus the cur kind of deal. There's a lot of people that don't think that the curs can tree, you know, like a hound can. And I know you've got a couple of big motor dogs over there. I know you got one, that Bama dog. A lot of people know him. And so what's it shown you? What have you come up with on that as far as hound versus cur? And is it more along the lines of just what works for one person, or is one of them just leaps and bounds better than the other one, or what? A comparison deal.
Well, I own both, and so in the summer months between March 1st and October 1st, I hunt dogs for the public, folks, and a lot of times it's the same guys that every summer send me dogs, and I'll either hunt them to keep them exercised, or I start them. Why? And I use that time for me to mess with my pups here at home that I'm not actually hunting in the woods yet.
Yeah.
That's why I like a spring summer pup. I can work my pups at home every day, and I can still go out every night and hunt somebody else's pups. I hunt so much that I can hunt. I'll go out and hunt my dogs early, come home, get a snack, get a drink, cool off, load up, and I'll go somewhere else and hunt another man's dog for, you know, an hour or two, and come in at midnight, 1 o'clock, get up, go to work next day. I just accustomed to doing that. But owning both and hunting both, I mean, it's really apples to oranges. And this is a question I get asked a lot, you know, hounds versus curs. And you know, the cur guys, not all, but a lot of the cur guys are like, man, any good cur can keep up with, you know, a hound any day, and they can't. It's what I figured. A cur, you will have a handful of mountain curs, whether they be Kimmer or original mountain cur. You'll have a handful of those curs that are they're just freaks of nature. Those can hang with the hounds. Even an exceptional hound or a great hound Just for instance, my Bama dog, not tooting my own horn, but I culled 17 dogs until I got Bama. Right? That's how many I went through. That's how many culls or good dogs I culled and went through to get the great one. Right? And I knew when I got him that I didn't have to go no further. Right? Now, I do have other pups that I'm coming up. But Bama is that one that I was looking for. He's the diamond in a goat's ass. You know, he shines. He hunts more like hounds, but he's not a hound. And the differences for me is majority of the hounds in my area, the guys that own them are not pleasure hunters. Now, I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying the majority. Majority of hound hunters around me are competition hunters. So when they're pleasure hunting, they're actually mock casting. They're using their stopwatches. They're hunting they're hunting with their buddies, but they're sending dogs in different directions. And a lot of those dogs, just because of the way competition hunting has evolved and the money that's come in, a lot of the hound hunters want these deep and lonely type dogs, right? Mm-hmm. They want these hounds, when you cut them loose, they want them deep, fast, with a hot coon, so that when they get there, the coon's on the outside, right? Because in competition hunting, the dog that trees the most coons the fastest with the least mistakes wins.
That's right.
Right?
Yep.
That's not a cur. 99% of the curs are not like that. So when I'm out hunting with my hound buddies and I've got my cur, just say we go up to a 20-acre patch of woods, right? The majority of hounds, you cut them loose, headed to that 20-acre patch of woods, they may not even slow down till they're past that 20 acres, right?
Yep.
Well, my dog's going to stop and tree. If there's 2 coons in that 20 acres, we're going to tree those 2 coons. Right. Okay. To me, that's one of the biggest differences. Now, you got some hounds that'll stop and tree them, but they're few and far between. Not that it's just apples and oranges. Now, where dogs like Bama are different than most curs that I hunt with are going to hit that 20-acre patch of woods, tree you 1 or 2 coons, and then they're going to come back. Or they're going to go in there. They're not going to get on nothing. They're going to turn around and come back and check in. Then you may send them another direction, right? The hound guys are not going to do that. When you turn the hound loose, it's leaving. Yeah, it ain't coming back. You're going to catch it. That's right. You're going to catch it treed. All right. That's another big difference between the hounds and the curs. Not so much as, a lot of your cur guys, that's just how they're going to hunt their dogs. They're going to mold their dogs to be that way. But the curs are not like that to start with. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Where those diamonds like Bama, when you cut him loose, he's not coming back until he trees a coon. Now, he may tree a coon at 100 yards, which is fine. But if there's not a coon in 100 yards, he may tree one at 1.5 miles. He may tree one at 2 miles. He may not tree at all, and you have to find a road, drive around, and pick him up somewhere. The majority of them are not like that. That's what makes him a step above, I mean, there again, not trying to sound like, I got the best stuff since sliced bread, but I do know that I've got a dog that is above a lot of the other curs that I've hunted with. For that, simply because of that. He don't have a limit. Majority of curs I've hunted with, they're going to have a limit, whether it be 500 yards or 800 yards, especially at night. Squirrel hunting has become so popular that a lot of your cur guys are breeding more for squirrel hunting. And the coon hound, the coon hunting curs are a thing of the past, right? Even though you got a lot of cur competition guys that do coons, they're only coon hunting. They're only doing the coon competitions because they showed up for the squirrel. They're there, and it's only $20. Why not? Maybe I can get lucky. Maybe my squirrel dog get lucky and tree a few coons, right? To where me, I don't want my dog to ever see a squirrel. I want to be able to. I hunt. If I'm not hunting by myself, I'm hunting with hounds. and I want my cur to be able to beat the hounds. That's my goal, is to have a dog that can keep up or be better. I don't want one that's going to hang with them. You know, I want my cur to be better. I want him to be smarter. I want him to be faster. I mean, if I didn't, why would I be going out there with them? You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I mean, even if we're not at a competition hunt, I still don't want to be second place.
Oh, shit. I don't blame you.
You know, so I hunt my dog. I mean, like I said, that's the reason that I think Bama is a step ahead of a lot of your what people call coon dogs, which, I mean, just to be honest, the majority of the guys that say they have a coon dog would know one if it bit them in the ass.
Yeah.
You know, they have squirrel dogs that were tree coons, which are great. Hey, you know, I mean, I've had them myself.
Oh yeah.
But they're not straight
dog.
coon dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're not.
They're just opportunistic.
They are, and I know a lot of. I mean, I hunt with a lot of hounds that are not coon dogs either, even though they're called that.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, it's their dog, it's their story. They can call it what they want to.
I agree. As long as I don't have to feed that son of a gun, I don't care what you call him.
That's right. But those are the biggest differences. I mean, if I even didn't skip around too much and explained it, is there's really not a comparison for me, because they're apples and oranges. There are things that a cur will do a hound can't do, and there are things that a hound can do that a cur can't do.
Yeah.
There again, you'll have exceptions. You'll have you're going to have a hound every now and then that will, and I'm going to toot his horn for a minute, and they can call me a bandwagon, whatever. But this hound pup that I have out here, Missy, her sire, lockdown Playboy, is
Playboy just won that truck, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He throttled the Winter Classic, and then he went up there to Alabama and won that truck this weekend at Austin Gentry. But
yeah,
that dog,
we were talking about that today in the shop.
Yeah, he is. I've hunted with him. He stayed at my place a week, and I got to hunt with him every night. I'm telling you, he is one of the most. Now, every dog's gonna have an off night, you know. I mean, I know that, but when I hunted with him night after night, he's one of the most impressive coon dogs that I've walked behind, because he will tree every single coon he comes to. He'll, in a pouring down rain, he'll tree every coon. He'll wind them. If they're on the ground, he'll trail them. If they ain't been on the ground in 4 hours, he'll cold trail them. I mean, he'll tree them in your lap. Treed one night.
He's a coon dog.
One night. Yes, he treed one night. He was so far, we could barely hear him, and he's loud. He crossed the river, went to the next deadgum county. We had to drive 3.72 miles to get around to him. And then he was on some property that I had permission to be on the property, but I didn't have permission to go through the property to get to where he was at. So we parked on the side of the road, turned the lights off, and used thermals to slip through the pine thicket to get around to him. And he had coons when we got there. I watched the dog tree. He made 24 trees in 4 nights. 24 trees, had 23 coons.
Damn.
And I'm talking about, some of them were in our lap. Some of them had no track. You can tree him. You can strike him on his locate, tree him on the first bark, and he's going to have a coon. Those those type dogs like him, right? They can tree coons like a cur. That's where dogs like that are comparable. You know, when I said hounds can do things a cur can't, a cur can roll in and wind 7 coons in a 60-acre patch of woods. Majority of hounds are not going to do that. They're going to roast in there. They're going to tree that hottest coon, and when you walk them, you got to walk them, you know, damn a minute away from the tree. When you cut them back loose, they're going to fly right through there, get through the country, get by themselves, and get treed again. And they're gonna go past 2 or 3 coons. You know, maybe the ones that are laid up ain't never been down.
Yeah.
Where a lot of your curs is going to roll right in there and tree them 3 coons that are laid up. Then you got dogs like Bama that can cold trail. You know, he can cold trail 2 or 3 hour old coon for, a mile. And then you got dogs like Playboy that are rolling there and treat them layups. So for the most part, they're apples and oranges, except those great ones.
And that's what you're after.
Yes, those are the dogs I'm looking for. I don't want a dog that can go in there night after night and tree me a coon at a mile. And while I'm walking to him, I'm looking at coons above my head.
Yeah.
I don't care nothing about that.
I'm the same way. That's why I never got into
Be methodical.
Yeah, it's like I've had a lot of people offer me dogs, and to get into a coon dog, and I was like, man, I've got a cur dog that'll tree coons, and it's not the greatest coon dog by any means, but I mean, if we go and there's coons, like we tree daytime coons all the time, she'll tree a nighttime coon. But I've went hunting with several guys, and like you said, when they kick them hounds out, man, they blow out of here. And we have literally took and shine and see coons within 50 yards of where we just turned loose. Why did they go a half a mile deep? I didn't understand that part. And I don't, and that's not what I want. That doesn't fit what I want to do.
It doesn't. I'm a stone cold killer. I want to kill every coon in the woods. And I catch a lot of slack for this, which I do not care. But when I'm out hunting, I've got about 16,000 acres of private farmland that I hunt. Nobody else has permission to hunt there. I'm not killing anybody else's coons but my own. So when me and my buddies are out hunting and we roll up, let's say Bama rolls in their tree and there's 3 coons up there, we shooting all 4 of them. All right.
That's it. There you go.
I'm making it rain. I don't give a damn if 20 people get on Facebook and talk crap about it. I don't care. They're not their coons. They don't have permission to come in there and hunt. I'm not going on public ground and killing that many coons.
I get the same kind of shit with the hogs, man. I get people, they're like, we all trapped over here, or man, y'all knocked out, 20 of them and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, they're mine to do that with. You don't have permission to be here, so it doesn't even matter. Shut up.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I catch a lot of slack for that right there, and folks will say, well, that dog don't know that there's 2 up the tree. Well, you don't know what my dog knows and what he don't know. Maybe he does, maybe he don't, but who cares? His job is to tree a coon. That's his job. And my job is to shoot him, right?
That's it.
So if I want to shoot 2 coons out of every tree, I'm going to shoot 2 coons out of every tree. And this year, I've actually, I've kind of changed and I'm just trying something new because I've got this little walker jip out here that I'm a cur guy, but dead gum, I got a walker pup out here that is just makes me want to go hunting every second of the night. I come home from I hunted her last night, come home from hunting. I had to go hunt some other guys' dogs. And when I got done, it was like 12:30ish. Of course, I have to get up 6 to go to work. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go hunt my pup again because she didn't tree nothing the first time I took her out. She hunted good, didn't tree nothing, but man, she is a coon treeing this little old pup, and she's off the Playboy dog, and I see a bunch of traits in her that he has. She will tree a coon that there's no way she should be treeing that coon, right?
Yeah.
And I see some really good. I see some greatness in her, and that makes me want to. Keep pumping away and take her out every night. Oh
yeah. Well, I mean, when they got it like that, it keeps you wanting to go. It keeps, like you said, if they're doing stuff that they shouldn't even be doing, yeah, why? You can't deny them that, and when you get one like that, like you said, that's where those great ones come in. That's where those great ones come in. You got to have a dog to make you want to do that, to keep them out there.
Yes. It does me anyway, and I know folks that they're fair weather hunter, weekend warriors, whatever you want to call them, and man, there's nights I come home from work, and I'm just drained. I go out and I have to cut grass and, we weed eat or spray, or I'm out working the garden. We got to clean horse stalls and dripping with sweat. I come in, we've got homework with, the youngest one, just, regular family daily life. And I'll sit down on the couch and my wife will look at me and she goes, "Thought you was going hunting." I'm like, Yep. I get up, get my boots on, and I keep grinding, because because I want to have the great dogs. And regardless of what folks, there's a lot of folks that say, I don't care what other people think. And I really don't care what they think about me. But at the same time, I post on Facebook, not for me. I post on Facebook because I want other people to see what I got. It's kind of bragging without bragging. You know what I'm saying? And I want folks to like my dogs. I want folks to like me. And the only way to do that is to have a great dog.
Yeah. And like you said, I think a lot of people get a misconception on that part where you say, I don't care what people think. And the fact of the matter is, I really don't. And I'm the same way. But at the same time, I care about what I put out there. Yeah. I like to put it like that. And I guess that'd be probably the same way that you're saying, it's like I want to post stuff about my dogs and I'm bragging. I'm proud. It's like, hey, check out what this pup did. This pup did something phenomenal.
That's what it's about.
That's why it's about the dog. It's not about, oh, look at what I did. Like you said, you don't even have to be there. Those dogs can do it without you. So it's like, you're producing the dog. You're putting the dog out there. A guy I know, a good friend of mine, Randy Durrell, owns that bay dog Goose, and it's all about his dog. And man, Goose has 90-something thousand followers himself, and he catches a lot of shit from people, and they talk trash about him because they're like, well, all he does is talk about his dog. Dude, no, the dog is talking. The dog is talking for itself. Randy's just letting you see what the dog has done.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And the ones that are talking shit on you, they're the ones that are jealous. They're the ones that wish they had that dog.
Oh yeah, jealousy has been the ruin of many a good dog, many a great dog.
Yep.
Many a friendship. Man, the jealousy is just ridiculous. And that's what not the jealousy part, but what you're talking about, your buddy does. And I'm familiar with a Goose dog. Even though I'm not a hog hunter, I don't live under a rock. And of course, I've listened to the podcast that he was on, and I see y'all's posts, and I think I may even follow him on Facebook or something, and I see some stuff he puts on. There's a merle colored dog.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like a kind of a whitish.
That's right. I mean, like he's won so much money in the bay pen stuff. It's ridiculous. And like he was 5 years old and a 4-time world champion at 5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's done it since he was 10 months old.
See, that's the diamond in the goat test.
That's exactly right. And like I said, I was talking to another guy today, and we all know Randy. And like I said, there's a lot of people, they think that Randy's being conceited or he's bragging or cocky or whatever. And well, there's a little bit of that, but I think that's in everybody that's a winner.
Yeah, you got to be. It's
called competition. If you're in a competition, you're competing. We can be friends, but I promise you, I don't even have a coon dog. But if I came over and I had a coon dog, I want my coon dog to be better than yours.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, and I'm not going to fault you if your coon dog's better than mine. By no means. I'm going to talk to you and figure out, hey, what's he doing that's different, and what can he do that can, how can I learn something? How can I improve? I'm not going to get mad or talk shit about you, but there's people out there that do that all the time. And like you said, most of us, we really don't care what you're saying because it doesn't affect my life. But at the same time, the reason we put stuff out there is because we care about our dogs and we want you to see what the dog is doing because we're proud of it.
That's right. That's right. It's kind of like I'm not comparing myself to Donald Trump by no means, but folks would say, well, I don't know how you support him and like him so much. He's just so arrogant. And I thought, is it really arrogant? Like somebody like me posting a lot about my Bama dog. Is it really being arrogant, or is it being confident in having the best and wanting to produce the best, wanting to be the best. I don't see it as being, I get called arrogant all the time. And I may have a touch of arrogance. I don't know, but I don't call it, just like with Trump, I don't really call it being arrogant. I call it being extremely confident.
Yeah, it's like, because that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. I've had people tell me that I was cocky or I was arrogant as well. And I'm like, well, if that's what you want to say, that's fine. And
it's only arrogant if you can't back it up.
But I always tell them, I'll back it up. Let's do it right now. Whatever
right.
it is we're talking about, let's do it. And
that's right.
99% of the time, they're not going to step up.
And
it's just one of those deals.
I have given for the last several years, I have put out I don't know what the word I'm looking for, an open invitation to anyone from any state to come to my house and let me take them coon hunting. I've got so many spots to hunt, good spots, big spots, loaded with coon. Bring your dogs. Let me see them. We don't even have to take my dogs, but if we do take my dogs, I'm going to take the one that I think can beat yours.
Yeah.
And I tell them, don't be mad, and don't not come. If your dog comes out here and smokes mine, I'm going to tell folks that your dog come down here and straight murdered my ass.
That's right.
I'm not too proud to say I got beat, but the next time we hunt, I'm going to try to bring a little sauce with me.
That's exactly right.
And I don't consider, like I said, I consider that just being. There's not a night that I don't take Bama to the woods. I don't expect to see a coon, and if I don't see one in the first 15 minutes, we're having a bad night.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of coon, and I've got a coon dog. He's just. And I almost hate to even say the word coon dog for a dog that's as young as he is, but gosh dang, it's almost like.
How old is he? You said when we talked last time, I couldn't remember how old you said. He wasn't very old.
No, he turned 2 back November, so he's about 2.5.
Yeah, I knew he wasn't very old.
He's about 2.5. He is. I'm just going to talk about him for a hot minute since we've mentioned so many times.
Lay it on there. Tell us about him.
For me, what makes him the exceptional, the great dog, what I've been looking for is he can tree. What I'm looking for is a dog that'll tree any kind of coon in any condition, no matter where I take them and who I take them with. You were talking about having some dogs that rig and some dogs that jump and some dogs that do this, and for coon hunting, I'm looking. I want that one dog that can do it all. So if it's hot and I'm tired and I want to take my wheeler to one of my, just say I got a big farm over here on the lake. It's about 2,700 acres and it's got dead gum deer, 4-wheeler trails. It's a big deer camp. It's a row crop farm. It's about 2,000 acres of farm and it's about 2,700 acres of timber behind it. And I can ride my wheeler literally everywhere to the tree. They don't care. And on those nights, it's just muggy and I'm tired. I want to be able to put Bama on top of my dog box and just ease down them trails. And he may not let out a big old ball, but he is the most laid back, easygoing dog. And if he's making my wheeler shake around and bob around, I know he's antsy and I know he smells something. So I stop and I cut him loose, right? He can tree that coon. Now he may go 40 yards, he may go 90 yards, but he's winded that coon. He's rigged that coon off top of my dog box. Yeah, he may not do it every night, but the next night I can take him and I can turn him loose with some of my buddies' hounds that are nice dogs. Straight up coon dogs. I can take him the next night with him hunting, and I know that when I cut him loose, he's fixing to leave like he's late for work. He's leaving like the popo's after, right?
That's it.
And I know that he knows. He's just one of those dogs that knows where to go to find a coon. He don't just run down a field edge. It's some dogs just have that knack to, instead of just running through the woods aimlessly or maybe in a straight line looking for a coon, it seems like he always ends up in a ditch, and he'll run that ditch out to a creek. Then he'll run that creek up, in the summertime, coons is going to be near the water. And it's just like he knows, hey, I've got to go to water if I'm going to get a coon treat. I know on those nights when I go with somebody else, their dog may be over here treating. He don't give a crap what they're doing. He's fixing to leave. He's finna go get me a coon treat, whether it's 200 yards up the creek or he may cross the river, and be treated 1.5 miles. When I get there, he's going to have a coon. I can take him on a night when the wind's blowing, 40 going north and cut him loose. And I can watch him stand on his hind legs, and whirl around winning the coon. And if I give him this space, he's going to treat that coon. Those are the things that makes him exceptional. If he goes 1.5 miles and gets treated, he's going to strike that coon with the biggest ball mouth that you ever heard of a cur dog. And if he's 1.2 miles, just for instance, one of my good friends, the first night, one of my good buddies got to go hunting with him. It was probably January. A lot of my farms are flooded by then. He's even good in the water. I cut him loose, and I mean, he just punched a hole in the dark. And we were leaned up on the hood of the truck, just sitting there BSing. And, my buddy was driving. I was having me a whiskey drink out of my green Dixie Dogger cup.
Right on.
And my buddy was smoking a cigarette. We were standing there, and about 10 minutes, he said, "You hear somebody's hound in there?" I said, "No, I don't hear nobody's hound." He said, "Man, I can hear a big old ball locate way back in there." He said, "Where's Bama at?" And I just spun the Garmin around. He was 1.19 miles. I said, "That's Bama locate that you can hear." He's like, "There's no way we can hear that dog." I said, "I'm telling you, that's him." I said, "We'll sit here we're going to give him about 10 minutes and just listen to him treat." So we just sat there on tailgate. When he finished the cigarette, we grabbed the guns and you don't have to run to him. We didn't even have a wheeler. We just eased on through the woods. We had to cross a couple sloughs. Now, as a matter of fact, we almost went up over our hip boots wading to him. We got in there in the little old high spot, and he was treating a big old cypress tree and had a coon. We knocked it out to him. And, there ain't many dogs that you can hear that far. Not curs anyway.
No,
there's a lot of hounds that hear that far. I've put so many videos of him treating that folks are like, "Man, that dog's got to be, half hound, 3/4 hound." And I said it on another podcast, 30, 40 years ago, I ain't got no clue what they put in these dogs. But where he came from, I know the guys that are behind these dogs. And I trust these guys. They tell me what he's out of. That's what he's out of,
That's right.
And a lot of, I bred him one time. I really wouldn't, you normally don't breed a dog as young as he is, but there were several guys in the timber world that I look up to, and I trust what they say. And they said, "Man, look, it is as good as he's doing and is big of a hunter in the bottom end that he's got. Most of your curs, even a lot of timbers, don't have the bottom end this dog's got to just go." We turned him loose behind the Mississippi River levee one night, and it was one of them stale nights. Man, you couldn't beg a coon. We didn't see any armadillos. We didn't see no deer. We went across the Mississippi River levee and didn't see a deer. You know how odd that is to go across the levee and not see a deer?
Most people don't. I'm from just on the other side of the river from where you're at, on the Arkansas side where I was born and raised. And to go on the side of the levee and not see any game at all I almost would tell you you're full of shit. But there's
nice
times,
like
but it's ridiculous the amount of game that's behind those levees.
It is. Well, that's how this night was. We just didn't. And I told my buddy, I said, I think we just made a mistake. We probably should not have turned him loose. And we had no wheeler, and we were sitting in the wheeler in the driveway of this club that we were on. It was 2,250 acres, which is from the gate to the river is a mile deep. So this 2,250 acres is really, really long. So a dog can stretch out, and I kept watching him. And I had my Garmin laid up on the dash of my wheeler. Every now and then I'd reach over and touch it and light it up. We'd look, and it'd be 600. I'd touch it again and be 1.1. And it's like, "Dang, you gonna tone him back?" I was like, what's a tone button? Who don't know nothing about no tone button? I don't tone or shock my dogs to slow them down or to, unless it's just a dire emergency. But finally, we cranked up and jumped up on the top of the levee on the gravel, and we were going 25 miles an hour down the levee trying to keep up with him. We finally caught him. He's 2.5 miles north.
Hey.
Most curs are just not going. They're not going to have that bottom end, which is another thing that just makes him that exceptional dog. That's something I like about him. When I turn him loose, you don't know. I mean, I've sat in the truck. Honestly, no bullshit. I sat in the truck one night. I was so tired, I shouldn't even have went, but I took him hunting anyway because I hunted him. But when I first got him, I think I hunted him, and I know I went 61 or 62 nights in a row. And then I started giving him some breaks in between, giving him a night or two off here and there. But I sat in the truck one night and fell asleep and woke up an hour and a half later, and I was panicked. I was like, holy crap. I just drove around the back roads until I finally picked him up. And he wouldn't even treat him. And he was steadily he'd just pick a creek and he'll run that creek until he catches even as much game as a guy, there's just nights that you can't, what whether the scent conditions are shit or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're just nights you can't go.
You don't have to go that far if there's game there. He, like you were saying earlier, if it's a 20-acre block and there's 2 coons, he's going to treat them 2 coons.
Oh yeah. That's
he'll roll his ass out if he's got to go find it. He's going to go find it. And that's what I like. That's what I really, really like, a dog that will get out and work, but he doesn't have to go 5 miles deep if he's got game that's, within 500 yards.
Yeah, if the game's moving, we're treeing 6, 7, 8, 9 coons, in an hour. When the coons are moving, when the coons are down and moving, he'll tree them put them up just like popping popcorn, just bam, bam, bam. By the time you tree one, knock it out. We don't walk him off. When we shoot a coon to him, I snap him up, I spin him around the direction. When I cut him loose and say get a hit, he's rolling. Right, he's on to the next one. And I've had folks come from I ain't gonna say all over the country, but several different states, that have called and said, hey, look, I'm gonna be in your area visiting family or whatever. Can I bring my boots and you take me hunting? Absolutely. Come on. And I mean, I'm so confident in my dog that I didn't have to worry, dang, is this going to be the night that he looks like crap? Or, is this going to be the night he ain't going to hunt? Or he's just one of those dogs. I don't have to think that. And so far, everybody that's come down here to see him, he's looked exceptional. He's done the same thing. When I bred him, the one time I bred him, I had my wheeler backed up to the kennel and I had a buddy with me. And I only breed him in the evenings. I never breed him in the mornings. He's not a morning person. He's like me. He's just not a morning person. You go out to feed him at 6 in the morning.
Out all night, all the time.
Probably. Odds are 90% of the time you go out early in the mornings to feed, like at 6 a.m. You pour the feed in his bowl. In his feeder, he does not even come out. He don't come out to be petted on, rubbed on. He just lays in his dog box. In the evenings when I get home from work, he's bouncing around. He's wanting to love, get on top of his box, the whole 9 yards, but he's just not a morning person. So I only breed him. I don't bother him in the mornings. I mean, that's another thing that's just so simple. A guy I used to be friends with told me this was one of his big things. He said, you got to be smarter than your dog, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I know my dog's not a morning person, so why would I bother him? Why would I try to breed him in the morning? I do it when he's at his best,
I agree.
But I backed my wheeler up, and when they crossed, they locked up, and I told my buddy, I said, as soon as they detach, I'm going to grab her. A thing I do with my females is once they separate, I put my females in I've got a single dog box that I've got sitting there, and I put them in that dog box to keep them from walking around the pee.
That's right.
Right.
Yep.
I put them in there about 5-10 minutes, and I said, as soon as they separate, I'm going to put her in the box. You put him in my four-wheeler, in my side-by-side. He loaded him up. He got all his stuff on, got together. I put her in her kennel. We went straight behind my house in the woods and cut him loose. And from the time they bred to the time we had a coon tree, it was about 25 minutes. Exact same dog. We did it 4 nights in a row. And I did that because I didn't want him thinking that just because he's getting to get him a little bit don't mean he ain't got to go hunt.
That's right.
You know, and I want him to do it immediately. I mean, as soon as I wanted to see what he was going to do for one. And there again, being that diamond in a goat's ass, he bred a female 4 nights in a row, and 4 nights in a row, I cut him loose and he, bam, left out like he always does.
You can't
got in, got treated. Had to, you can't.
Sounds like just a phenom. So you said y'all bred him. How old are the pups now? What have y'all? Are they old enough to start hunting, or what's happening?
Yeah. There's a guy in. So I gave one of the pups to. So I got Bama from Ronnie Wooten over in Alabama, just north of Hamilton.
Yeah.
And a little backstory on Bama. At 9-10 months old, he wouldn't run a deer. He wouldn't chase a rabbit. He wouldn't bark at nothing. He wouldn't be a hog. Ronnie's a big hog hunter.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be a hog. He wouldn't do nothing. And he had already been jumped on. 3 stray dogs came into Ronnie's lot and killed one of Ronnie's females. They jumped on Bama, ripped his ear off. Well, I ain't gonna say off, but they ripped it away from this.
They stretched that ear out. Is what happened when they stretched it. Pulled it on down there. That's why he's got them long ears.
Well, that's because I use my ear stretcher on everything.
Put the ear stretcher on him?
Yeah. You got to have that mud flap mafia. Wouldn't happen without the ear stretcher.
That's right.
But these dogs chewed him up bad. They chewed his leg. He looks like a hog dog. He looks like a catch dog.
Yeah.
He is so beat up and scarred up from his face. His chest is all, his legs are scarred up, no hair growing and spots. And it's from them dogs. So between being completely eat up, those dogs were so bad that they sent the code enforcer up to where those dogs belonged to, and the code enforcer got killed by the dogs, right? Over in Alabama. It was a big deal about it.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. Sheriff's Department had to go up and dispatch the dogs.
Yeah.
But so between that and he just was, by any standards, he was a cull. If I had him at 6-7 months old, probably would cull him. Because he had zero interest in doing anything. But Ronnie, it takes every kind of man to mess with these dogs. And Ronnie's one of those that's got the patience. He just let him run loose in his yard. And he called around 4 or 5 people, tried to give the dog away. Nobody wanted him because he wouldn't do nothing. Who wants a dog that ain't going to do nothing?
Yeah.
And Ronnie had another dog there running loose in his yard. And he said a friend of his came by the house one day and was looking for a dog. He was out there showing him his female. And the guy, he said, "What's that, strangly looking, tall, leggy dog right there?" He goes, "Man, that dog, nothing. He just runs around the yard and eats." And anyway, he said they was walking around over by his barn or something. He said about that time he heard just the biggest, loudest ball locate. Dog went to treeing like crazy. And they're looking at each other like, "What dog is that?" So they walk around behind the barn and he's treeing some birds in a honeysuckle bush. First thing he ever treated was birds in a honeysuckle bush. And Ronnie said the next day he come home and he was treating a squirrel right behind his house. So he took a shotgun, went out there and knocked it out to him, and he took him hunting. Then he started taking him hunting about 10 months, between 10 and 11, and took him and his sister, Little Mate's sister, and they caught a cat in a creek bank over here and stretched the cat out and killed it. And then Ronnie said a couple of days later, he treated a sow and some kitten coons, and Ronnie knocked one of them out. And he called Chris Boone up in Tennessee looking for somebody that he was looking for a coon hunter. He said, as big as this dog is and the way his mouth is, he wanted somebody that was going to coon hunt him to get him. Mm-hmm. And he called Chris Boone up there, and Chris said, "Man, he had so many." Chris bred and raised Bama's sire, grandsire, and great grandsire. So he called Chris, and Chris said, "Man, I ain't got time for him." He said, "But I didn't know Ronnie. Never met Ronnie. Never spoke to him. I knew who he was, but I never met him or nothing." He said, "Man, there's a friend of mine in Mississippi." He said, "If you can get him not to cull the dog. If he's got it in him, he'll get it out of him." So Ronnie messaged me out of the blue one night, and I called him. We had a conversation, and we got to talking about the dog. He went to describing him, and I said, look, man, I'm going to be honest with you. I said, I've culled so many dogs exactly what you're describing. People have given me, I've bought them, I've shipped them in, and I've culled every one of them. Before I say I'm going to take this dog, can I meet you and hunt with you? I don't care if he ever makes a tree, but I want to see him hunt. So we made a date, and I drove over. We hunted right on the Alabama-Mississippi line at the 10-time waterway over there somewhere. And we pulled up, and I shook Ronnie's hand, met him for the first time, and he said, look, son, I'm going to tell you, be honest with you, it's the first time dog's ever been in a dog box. First time he's ever had a bark collar, a Garmin collar put on him, and he's never been hauled to the woods with a bark collar turned loose with 3 other dogs. They had 4 dogs. And he said, I don't know what he's going to do. I said, that's fine. He said, you put your collar on him and you hunt him like he's yours today. At the end of the hunt, if you want him, he's yours. If you don't, we go hunting again. And I'll take him home and won't be no nothing. We're going to be, we can be buddies. And, maybe I can find you something else. So we cut dogs loose. And me and Ronnie's kind of just walking and talking. You know how it is when you first meet somebody. You feeling them out and talking to each other, asking them, what kind of dog you like and this and that. And all of a sudden, man, this dude's, probably 600-700 yards away. I heard the awfulest deadgum noise come out the woods. And I looked over at Ronnie and he's grinning. He said, that's that pup. I said, there's no freaking way that was that yellow dog just slipped out. Because up until this point, I despised a yellow dog. I could not stand them. I didn't want to even feed one. But I was so desperate. I was so desperate for the right dog. I knew they were out there. I used to be colorblind, kennel blind, but I didn't get over that shit. So we walked into where he was at. And these other 3 dogs, of course, they went into where he was treed at, and he left, checked out. They went there and treed, and he checked out, and he got a little deeper. Big old ball locate. I mean, just huge mouth. I thought, gosh, dang, the mouth on this dog. And he's hunting. I mean, like leaving your feet in a hurry hunt. Well, we started to him again, and the other dogs, they went right in there to them, same thing. When them dogs got there, he left, and I said, look, y'all don't mind when we turn loose if y'all catch y'all dogs, and let me just see what he'll do without them. I think he was 1.19 miles or something crazy like that when he treed the next time, and we walked in and shot a squirrel to him, right? Mm-hmm. First time in the woods, first time in the dog box, just acted like he'd been in the woods his whole life. So I told Ronnie, I said, I think I want to just tongue kiss him right in the mouth just because of that big old mouth he's got, I'd never heard no cur dog. I mean, I've had some loud damn ball mouth cur dogs, but nothing like him. And it's just, it's hard to describe how loud, man, he is. And, big old head. I mean, he's just a bobtail albino brindle walker dog. You know what I'm saying? with twice as many brains. That's it. So that hunt got cut short. Ronnie's dogs and them, they got on a big hog, nasty hog, and 2 of the dogs got cut up real bad. And Bama won't have nothing to do with a pig. When they got on that pig, he left out, and he went so dead-gum far and got treed again. I didn't think I'd ever get to him. By the time I think I was 3 miles from the truck when I finally got up with him. Anyway,
first time out.
Yes, first time out. I mean, so I went straight back to the truck. I just put him in the dog box. Matter of fact, I got some cheese and crackers out of my truck and put him in the dog box and opened the door. I sat on the tailgate with him and fed him. Me and him was eating cheese and crackers. They pulled up with bloody dogs, and it was a mess. And Ronnie says, look, I ain't got time to sit and talk. He said, if you want the dog, fine. If you don't, fine, put him in the box. I got to go. I got to get my dogs cleaned up, stapled up. Yeah. And I said, absolutely not. This damn dog's staying in Mississippi. That's it. I brought him home, and man, about 3 or 4 days, he just wouldn't have nothing to do with me. And he didn't bark the dog. He didn't bark the kennel. He didn't eat. He didn't drink. He just kind of stood around and looked. And about the 4th or 5th day, I pulled up in the yard. And when I pulled up in the yard, my kennel was behind my horse barn. And when I pulled up in the yard, I just looked out through there, and I could barely make him out. And he was looking dead at me barking. And I thought, all right. Now we ready. Yep. So I went straight out to him and petted him up, and he had drank, he had ate, and so that I took him hunting that night. Didn't do nothing. Wild as a buck deer. Couldn't catch him. Cut him loose. I thought, man, I should have kept him like a string, you know, a shoestring. A piece of
weed eater string.
Weed eater string under something when he run by. I could not catch him. So I went up to a tree and started shaking the vine and started squalling. And he didn't bark on it, but when he ran up to see what I was doing, I snatched his collar and put a lead on him and went home. And told my wife, I said, that's the wildest son of a gun I've ever turned loose to not ever been hunted, you know. So the next night, I took him to one of my best spots that I got and cut him loose. And I mean, this dude left like you shot him out of a cannon and treat a coon. I mean, I know it sounds just ridiculous for me to say, you know, I know I've heard people go, yeah, took this dog out. First time he ever went to the woods, he treated, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, that's bullshit. But I'm telling you, the dog went from a 0 to a hero, like, and that's why I hunted him. I think I hunted him 62 nights in a row. From the first night he treated for me, 62 nights. And from the time he turned a year old until the end of this past season, February the 28th of 2024, I killed 186 solo coons of the dog by himself, singles, you know, just shooting one coon at every tree, not shooting every coon, just one coon. And I think one time we did shoot a double. A buddy of mine had a pistol. He's wanting to shoot a coon with a pistol, and there was two in a tree, and he just ended up hitting both of them. But other than that,
that's a lot of coons. I mean,
it is for a dog to go from not doing nothing. You know, and I mean, I've turned him loose with another dog, and when he let out, just slam on the brakes, throw his head in the air, and just bam, fall right over and go to the tree and have a coon, shoot it out to him. Turn him loose, go 900 yards, bam, fall tree to have a coon. Turn him loose. We took him over to White River Refuge. You know, I hadn't been over there in years. Some buddies wanted to go, so we took him over there, and we had 7 or 8 dogs. He was the only cur. The first night we were there, there was probably 30 hounds tied out behind these cabins, you know, of other people that had rented.
Yeah.
And he was out of place. He wouldn't eat that night. You know, he had never been tied out and having to sleep, you know, with a bunch of dogs like that. He'd been in my kennel. And the first night I took him out, we had a crap night over there, man. I got into a fight with a dude in the gravel road over my dog, and it was just crap. We didn't treat that. We didn't get to hunt,
y'all
really.
Must
I just
have been
drove
over there
around.
around Maddox Bay or somewhere.
We were, man. It was, man, it was ridiculous, man.
Probably
This
some
dude,
of my family out there, but
man, I finally got him to go hunt, and he had just let out. He'd got about 300 yards. This dude pulled up behind me and went to calling, and I said, "Hey, I just now got my dog to go hunt. What are you doing?" Trying to call my dog. I said, "Well, go back up somewhere else and call your dog, or Tony or something. You gonna call my dog?" And man, this dude said a cuss word to me, and I was already having a bad night.
Yep.
Man, it just flew. My buddies come pulling up. They said, "Man, it looked like a banty rooster out there scratching gravel in the middle of the gravel road." But
that's what
anyway,
I'm about.
so I went back and I drank whiskey till daylight. I went to bed, got up the next day. I was going home. I said, "The heck with this, I'm going back to Mississippi." You know, my buddies were, no, man, stay. So I stayed, and the next night I went out by myself. I found me a spot with nobody around, cut that dog loose, and man, it was just bam, tree, coon. I mean, the next night we took him out with a hound. Bam, they went tree for tree. He swam the Arkansas River on us, got on the other side, and I couldn't call him back because he didn't have no handle. Me and this guy, he said, "What are we going to do?" I said, "Hell, it's 18 miles drive around. I don't know what the hell we're going to do. I ain't got a boat. I ain't swimming, you know." We found us a log. We tied his dog up, and we sat on the bank of the river till they got tired and come back. I mean, he's just one of them dogs. He gets on the coon track. You can't. Later in the season, I don't know. He had never messed with a hog. Like I said, I ain't got hogs here. But we went down to my buddy Marc Morrison's got a cabin down at Delta National Forest in Rolling Fork. We went down there hunting him, another friend of mine, Justin Guy. We turned Bama loose, and he got in there and struck about 600 yards. And I said, "Man, it just sounds fun. You know, maybe he run up on the hot coon because you just squalling." And he ain't never messed with no possums much. He ain't never messed with no big. He ain't bad about running deer or nothing. And man, he left out squalling. I thought, I wonder if this dude's running a pig. And in 1.66 miles, I found him. He was back, 4 little old piglets bait up in a culvert, in a drainage culvert.
Yeah.
I mean, he left out squalling. The only time he's ever messed with any pigs. And that was the first time I'd really tried to shock him. And I had it wide open on my Garmin. You can't shock him off the track.
That's what I was fixing to ask you. How did that work?
Oh no, I think he sped up.
Yeah, he's like, oh hell yeah. He said, I love the pain. He's into that dominatrix shit.
Man, something. He's just. Like I said, I went through so many dogs looking for him. He's. I'm gonna have him collected just because he's such a big hunter and such a bottom end and goes so far. There's so many subdivisions coming up and roads and putting in new folks moving in from the city out to the country, don't know nothing about no hunting dog. I'm scared that he's gonna get run over or shot or something. So I'm gonna have him drawn. They told me they want him to be a little older than what he was when I took him. Yeah. So I'm trying to let him get his little age on him. I haven't hunted him. He got hurt last season, like the last 2 or 3 weekends in February. We got into some water one night, and me and a buddy of mine, he kept us in the water about 3 hours treeing coons. And when we got back, every time he'd step, I'd see blood, and he must have gotten some trash or something. Cut his pad really, really bad. He just kept licking it and messing how they do. They won't let it heal. I'd wrap it and he'd chew it off. But so I laid him up. I went and borrowed a hound to finish the season out with and laid him up. So he's fat and out of shape now, but he's healed up. And I've been hunting him a little bit, but I took him one night last week. Probably one of the first couple of times I've had him out in the summer. I've been hunting my pups and letting him just lay up. I cut him loose and he caught a coon in the middle of a cornfield. Corn was probably 3 inches tall. He caught a coon in the middle of the field. It took me about 20 minutes to get out to him. By the time I got out to him, he was so hot. He was just sucking. He's not a kill dog. He wants to run and tree and he'll bay them, them coons on the ground, but he had a circle in the mud dug out there where he'd been running circles. He was so out of shit. He was so hot after that. I took him with him cool off and went to the house. Yeah. I ain't gonna try to. I got better sense and just keep pushing and pushing.
You just keep on, then you'll lose.
Get a dog too hot, they're usually never gonna be the same.
We had that.
Oh yeah. I've got 7 dogs out here. I only own 1, 2, 3. I only own 3 dogs. I own two Kimmer Curs, which is my Sage female, and which is she's a half sister to Bama on the bottom side. That bottom side of Sage and Bama, I would dare say 95% of every dog on their bottom side are big game dogs. They're bear and mountain lion. I've actually got his first litter of pups doing pretty good. Some of them are. I kind of got you asked me that, and I took the long way around to get to it. But
that's fine.
The first litter starting to do. Some of them have been treeing coons. A good many of them went to hog. Even though I bred them for coon dogs, so many of the hog hunters and bear hunters contacted me wanting pups out of him just because the bottom end he's got. The big mouth, they don't want nothing that opens on track, but he's got such a big mouth and a big motor.
If he's got the motor and the speed, then I wouldn't care if he's wide open on track myself. I don't run open mouth dogs, but you can catch them with open mouth dogs if they're fast.
Yeah. Let me tell you I'll tell you one other quick thing about him before we move on. One night he's talking about being fast. I've hunted with dogs that were faster than he is, as a whole. But one night I cut him loose by just me and him. I cut him loose and he went up the ditch line, and I was just. I don't sit and watch my Garmin, but when he strikes, I get my Garmin out. I like watching how he works. I learn my dog by watching the way he hunts, but I don't do it until he strikes. So he's about, 400 yards or something, and he, let out a big old ball. So I get my Garmin out and I'm looking, and best I remember, he's like 7.5, 8 miles an hour when he struck, And he's about a 6, 7 mile an hour dog. And he was running about probably 6.5, 7, 8 miles an hour. He struck, and he runs up through there, up this ditch bank creek, and he's, every, 30, 40 seconds, he's letting out a big old ball. And I noticed that, he'd bumped up there about 9 miles an hour. And I thought, well, hell, he ain't said nothing. Did he lose the track or what's going on? So I get my Garmin back out and look again. And now he's running 12, 13 miles an hour. Next thing I know, huge squall. And I mean, he just laid down, commit to tree him like crazy. So I thought, maybe he caught on the ground, So I kind of made haste. I jumped in the truck and pulled up close as I could. And I run up through a thicket, and I got there. Dead pine tree, probably was bigger as my leg, which ain't big. I'm a little fella. And this coon was about halfway up his pine tree, hanging on for dear life. I mean, it was so. What I'm saying from just watching him and listening to him, he struck this coon, and when the track heated up, he is smart enough to shut his mouth, speed his track up to try to catch.
Yeah, you can't you can't beat that shit at all.
No, you can't. There's nothing. The hunt that he has, the drive he has, and the brains he has is not one damn thing nobody can teach. Ain't nothing I've done. That's just the way he came out. And he's got litter mates. He's got litter mates that are, none of his litter mates are coon dogs. One is a really good hog dog that Caleb Smith has, and Arkansas female.
Caleb's got that dog, right? Yeah.
Yeah. She's got a big old mouth like Bama. She's not quite as big as he is, but she's got a big mouth. There's a guy in Texas that has a male and a female, but they coyote hunt. That's what he's using it for. I know 2 got killed by a mountain. Well, 1 got killed by a lion. I think 1 fell off a cliff. So I've had a bunch of hog hunter guys and a lot of bear guys, especially, have called me with pups, and I've got them bred back. Either last week or week before, I bred them 5 days in a row, him and Sage, for the second cross.
Well, whenever you get an opening on any of them, put me down. And I know, I mean, maybe not this one, but just in the future, if you ever.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, put me down, because like I said, we've got Kimmers ourselves, and I really like a lot of the stuff about them. That one Nate's got, Louis, every time we take him, he's getting better and better. Like, he's just going further and further and staying longer and longer and longer. Like you said, he's one of those that he would go with other dogs, but he really wasn't like independent or nothing. Then all of a sudden one day he's like, "Hey, I'm a big boy now. Watch this." And that sumbitch turned it on, and he's staying with it.
And he don't not like anything.
No, he loves anything.
He loves everything.
He was running a hog, and literally a squirrel. I seen the squirrel. I seen the hog he was running first that they jump struck. And in the midst of all this, he comes back around, and I'm trying to get him to go. We're trying to get him to cut across this slough. That's where that hog had went. They broke up a group of them, and he seen that squirrel. and like it just drove him crazy. He stopped. He went over there, and he'd get right by it, and then he'd go back to the hog, and then he'd come right back over to the tree. I was like, I'm not going to get mad if he trees the squirrel. You know what I'm saying?
Just pick one.
He just picked one of them, but he stayed with the pig. I was like, that's pretty cool, because we have just squirrel hunted him, and he stayed with the squirrels as well.
Right. I've got a female that a guy up in I got from a guy in Michigan. She actually came from South Dakota, and she's pretty much bred all big game kimmer. And I went to I think I went to Wisconsin and bought 2 pups off of her. And the pups, one matter of fact, one of the pups got killed, and the other pup just didn't make. Now, I don't think none of the pups in that litter made, but for whatever reason, whether it was the male or female, just a bad cross. But I ended up getting a female, and I went over to Caleb Smith. My oldest son had never killed a hog, and so Caleb invited us to come over, and I asked him. I said, "Look, can I bring my little Finn Jip? She ain't very big of a dog, but let me tell you something, son. That's some gun right there. She would not harm a fly, but she's got that look in her eye. My wife would not stick her hand in the kennel to pet her. She's got that look in her eye that any given moment she can just cut loose sideways.
Yeah.
So we went over there and hunted, and I let my son, he had his own Garmin, and we collared her up, and she's built like a tank. She just ain't a big dog, man. She's got a good ball mouth anyway, so she can fly. Absolutely hates anything that she can run up on. I don't care what it is. Them dogs bait a hog, a boar hog, pretty daggum quick. And when we got in, son, she had teeth on it. I mean, she was ripping the guts out of it. My son got in there and stabbed it. I mean, it was just man, it was great. It was a good, easy hog. And we had a big time. So we moved locations and cut dogs loose again. And the guy that owned the property, we were all standing around talking. Me and my boy was high-fiving, taking selfies with a pig and stuff.
Yeah.
And we cut dogs loose, and the guy that owned the property, he walked ahead of us with the dogs. He just wanted to make sure they went the right direction, that he was wanting to go in. Anyway, we heard the dog strike, so we jumped in trucks and we drive in there, 600, 700 yards. And we got in there and they had a big old sow bait up. And of course, all those fins yet, man, again, she had to, she had the hog by the teats and was just snatching and ripping and pulling. And that guy that owned the place that was walking, he goes, "Hey, bud," he said, "I hope you don't mind." He said, "By the time them dogs struck that hog," he said, your little female there, she caught a coon on the ground and had it killed. He said, "I just took it away from her and threw it over the ditch and sent her on you." So I said, "Hey, look, man, she's trashy, she's gamey." I said, "We stone cold killers. We don't leave none behind."
Yeah, no prejudice here, but we just gonna get
that's
them all.
right. Look, when it comes to catching game or catching women, we don't cull none of that. You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly right. Exactly right, my man. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I like a dog that'll get in there. I mean, Bama's not really trashy, but if he did, I mean,
yeah. What,
I wouldn't care. Yeah, I mean, I don't like it. I don't like a coon dog getting tree possums, but when he, I mean, they're dogs, and they're gamey. If he rolled in there and treated a possum, I'm just gonna tell him, "Hey, look, Daddy, love you. Let's go get something. Let's go get us a coon." I ain't gonna whoop him. I ain't gonna I don't have to shock him. I don't have to whoop him. You don't have to holler at him. You cut him loose. He goes and gets trees, and you find him on the tree.
That's it.
I'm looking for a female. I'm trying to find a good female, similar to what he is, which I've been looking for 2 years, maybe even more than 2 years.
Yeah.
And I've yet to find one. But, Sage is the only female I've got. I've got my fins yet, but I've got her loaned out to a guy that hog hunts. He had some young dogs. He was just getting hog hunting, and he had some young dogs that they would mess with the pig, but they didn't really know to go hunt. And this little fins yet, you cut her loose, she's like a rocket. So anyway, he's got her just kind of hunting his young dogs with her just to get them going, get them leaving his feet, going out and actually hunting.
Yeah.
And I'm probably going to breed her. I probably ain't going to do it this year, but she's only, let me see, my Sage female is 4, and I think Finn is 4. No, she's 7, 10-7. So she still got some years if she don't get killed by a pig. But I would love to have. I've had several people ask me about breeding to Bama, and I've turned everybody down. I wasn't interested in breeding. All I wanted to do was hunt. I wanted him to be exactly what I wanted him to be before I went to just,
I got you.
Letting anybody and everybody. If you bring 10 females over here, and any of those pups out of any female that don't turn out, it ain't gonna be the female's fault. It's gonna be Bama's fault.
Yeah.
So
that's without a doubt. You know how that goes.
Yeah, I'm just weird about that. I'm not no big breeder. I'm a hunter.
We're the same way. I've had people.
I honestly would rather buy a couple pups from somebody than I would raise my own. Even though the first litter he had, she raised 10 pups, and a really good friend of mine that he only hog hunts. He's up in the real steep country mountains in Arkansas. I gave him a pup pretty early, when they were young, and I kept all the rest. And then I gave Ronnie one, and I sent one to a lion hunter up in South Dakota, and then I kept all the rest until they were a little older.
Yeah.
I finally ended up, where I could see one I want, and I'd say, okay, well, I don't really want this one. Not that it was a coal. it had something I didn't want, whether it wasn't big enough or didn't have long enough ears or, it didn't have the mouth I was looking for. It wasn't necessarily a cull at 10, 12 weeks old, but I knew it wasn't.
It didn't meet your standard.
Yeah.
It's
something that you wanted.
When it came down to it, I didn't keep not one of the pups because none of them had exactly what I was looking for. There was one female that was pretty dead gum close.
Yeah, but I know you held on to her for a while. I seen it,
I did. She just wasn't going to be. There was just something about her. I don't know what it was. It was something about her that I liked. She had the biggest mouth of all them pups. She had a crazy big nose. I mean, crazy big nose. But there was something peculiar about that pup. And if there's something about a pup that I don't know and I get it in my head that I don't like it, I've got to get rid of it because I'm always going to think it's just something I don't like and I'm not going to put 100% into it. So I got rid of them and I said, I'm going to try, I made this cross again and same thing. I've got a big list of folks wanting them, but they're all mine.
That's right.
I'm going to raise them in my pen like I did the last ones. It's going to be about the same time of year. By the time the leaves start coming off, they'll be big enough to put down in my starting pen. And I'm going to try again. And if I don't, then I won't make it again. I'll look for me another. I'll look for another female.
Yeah.
I really don't want to crossbreeding.
No, and that's what I'm to say. That's what I was going to ask. Have you thought about doing that to breeding with something else besides just another Kimmer?
Well, now, I would if it was somebody. If somebody come along and say, "Look, I'm a hog hunter, and I've got such and such female that's jam up, and I've been looking for a big male that's got a big hunt, big motor, big mouth." Now at this point, I know what I've got.
That's right.
And he's only going to get better. So I feel comfortable enough now that he's worth breeding to.
Okay.
The litter of pups I got out of him were uniform. It was a uniform litter. They were all, and y'all seen the pups, man, they were just fat, beautiful, healthy, just stout, big wide head. Man, they were gritty as hell, probably a little bit more grit than I was expecting. But, I mean, for where most of them went to hog hunters, they probably end up, getting stitches.
That's
but,
right.
I'd breed him to, I'm not going to breed him just, somebody says, "Hey, look, I've got a squirrel dog. She trees, she'll go out 200 yards and treat me a squirrel, blah, blah, blah."
Yeah,
I'm going to come
just because somebody wants pups off of Bama.
That's right. I don't breed.
They got to be compatible, man. It's got to be something that's going to be phenomenal. It's like,
I want to breed for a reason to breed, not for, well, again, not being arrogant or conceited or whatever. But I
know what you're going to say.
I got a big following on, social media.
That's right.
I mean, I get out, I talk to it. Wherever I go, I make it a point. If I walk in somewhere and I don't know you, I'm walking up to them, we'll shake your hand and introduce myself.
That's
You
right.
you don't like me, fine. I'll go about my own business. But I want to be friends with as many people as I can because that's how you build a big network. My wife's out of town in Florida, has a flat. I want to be able to know somebody in Florida that would go help her, or at least go sit with her until she got help.
That's right.
So I want, I get out and I talk. So in turn, that gives me, I know a lot of folks and, I post a lot of crazy stuff. I get on here and do a bunch of thinking, drinking, and I, cut up sideways. So you make a lot of friends, and there's a lot of people that watch what I do, even if it's for their laughing entertainment,
Yeah.
But I don't want folks just to come over here and go, "Well, heck, man, that dog, that's a coon tree and it's, blah, 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 I've ever seen. I'm just going to come breed to him." But that ain't the folks that I want.
No, and there comes another damn train. Jesus Christ. I guess it's Train City tonight. But no, and that's why I was saying that because, like I said, I know some guys that have some jam up dogs. I know some guys that have some females that are, they're kind of like the whole Bama deal, but at the same time, it's I don't know that they would even be compatible to even breed to, for what you want or for what they want either.
Well, I don't mind trying if it's something I don't mind trying as long as I felt like it didn't work, they would cull them off.
That's
You know
and that's what I was
and
going to say. It would depend. You know, if I was in your shoes like that, it would definitely depend on who had the dog, who had the female. If it's, I would have to know them, or they had to be so highly recommended that, you know, like you just said, you know, they're going to cull the whole litter.
Yep.
If
that's one thing. I'm probably going to piss some people off by saying this, but that's one thing that a lot of the Kimmer owners do that I don't agree with.
Yep.
Is there's a lot of guys that they look at papers and they say that would be a good cross. I'm going to do that, and which is okay for them. I don't do that. I don't give a dang. I'm about performance. You know, I'm not trying to breed just because, you know, what the papers say. And if they do, I'm not going to do that. There's too many people that do, and it would be as big of a deal if they would cull, but they're not. They're not going to cull. Even if they don't sell them, they'll give them away.
That's right.
And if they ain't worth a crap, somebody else is down the road is going to look at the papers and go, man, they're bred good. I'm going to breed it. And then they're just breeding more crap.
That's all they're doing. And they're going to keep polluting. It's pollution. And they flood the market. And then the next thing you know, you've got these supposed to be Kimmer dogs, and you look at them, you're like, that doesn't even resemble a Kimmer.
No.
Or they're so shitty.
Bottle nose,
yeah.
Yes.
Look what happened to the American Pit Bull Terrier in the last 50 years.
Oh, yeah. It's what's like that, even with the Jags. Same way. There's a multitude of breeds out there right now that have been done the same way. And it goes to that part to where it gets away from the real dog men and dog women out there in the world. Because I know a lot of women that are just as strict or tougher than we are. And they're going to breed and keep only the best. I was talking to a guy yesterday and was talking about like our York Terriers. I just let Mr. Kiefer take Oscar back, and I can go back on Oscar's papers 20 years, right at 20 years. And it's only 3 generations that was on my yard. That's it in 20 years. That's how many times they've been bred. And they're like, well, how many times did you breed them? That's it right there. There's just 3 breedings that happened in 18 years. And 2 of them weren't even by me.
Right.
But that's how strict it is. But then you got another guy that got a pup out of that litter. He bred that sumbitch to everything there was that even resembled a jag, put papers on it, hung papers on shit, and then tried to write off my name or our bloodline. And was, you know, here we are any dogs that you got from us, it's not hundreds, it's thousands of dollars if you even got one. And then this guy's got them and selling them for $200 and puppy milling. Watered down.
Yeah.
And then I've had people, they're like, man, this bloodline over here, it doesn't seem like it's all that. I'm like, well, that's not even the real bloodline, because I can tell you every one of those dogs. Like you said, we kept every dog. And the ones that actually left, I went back, the past 5 years? We went back and bought all the dogs, every one of them that was still alive. We went back and bought all of them back. That even puppies that came off of those dogs that somebody else had, we went and bought all of them back. Just so I'd be like, nope, if somebody's got one for me, they're a liar.
Right, that's right.
Because like
that's
you said,
because
what
you
you're
care.
trying
That's because you care about the dogs and producing quality,
top notch.
Yes.
They got to be extreme.
Yep.
They can't be average.
Too many guys out there want to be somebody so bad. They want to be that guy that you bought your world champion dog from.
Yeah.
So they just, I mean, they're doing things for the wrong reason. And it makes it tough on everyone. I mean, that's why I had to cull 17 junky ass dogs to get one great dog.
Yeah.
I didn't even get, I don't, probably out of them 17 dogs, probably only 4 of them were good. One of them I probably shouldn't have culled, but
Yeah, I mean, but that's what your standard is, and that's why you're held in high regard, because there's a lot of people out there, they want to be like you, and they want to have that same, I guess you say, same authority on it, but at the same time, they don't do what you do. So they can't be at that same level. If they have a whole litter of puppies off of Bama, say Joe Blow come over here and you said, sure, man, got a nice female. She does everything. She's compatible. We'll breed them. Well, those pups turn out to be shit. Chances are that he's going to cull those are very slim, because like you said, he wants to be at that same level, or like I said, he wants to be at that same level you're at, or he wants to be that guy that he's going to say, well, I've got this great female and they're off of this great male. There got to be something in it. There's got to be. Not necessarily. There might be a damn thing in there. It's like, if that was the way it was, every damn time you bred Bama, you'd be like, okay, here comes the wonder dog. One of them's coming. And that's not how it goes. I'm sorry. If you got a 50% success rate over damn 20 years of breeding dogs, shit, you're at the top of the line, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Back years ago, probably 10 or 12 years ago, but before that dog before Bama was, as far as male coon dogs go, was my old Crockett dog. He was that dog for me then. Now he was loud, but he's not loud like Bama. He would leave and go hunting. Not like Bama was, but I mean, he would go. But he would treat more coons than, I don't care what you hunted him with. He was going to treat more coons than me. I mean, we treat someone. We were treating 250, 300 coons a year with this dog. Now we were shooting multiples, man. We was killers. We was freaking straight murdering them. We were going out and killing. Man, we killed 23 coons in one night. Killed 16 one night to him. I mean, just coon after coon. We was hunting. Shoot, we were hunting 4, 5, 6 hours a night with this dog. He was one of them dogs that you could hunt him all night, even in the summertime. As long as you give him time to cool off, it's like he didn't get too hot. I bred him 5 times, in probably an average of like 7 or 8 pups per litter. There's 2 that are worth crap, right?
Yep.
I bred him 5 times to see. I bred him 3 myself and 2 to some friends that I knew would do what needed to be done if they didn't make. I never bred him again because 2 out of 5 litters made something. Most of the ones that I kept out of them all got cold. They didn't get given away. Well, I gave a couple away, but they were neutered. They were fixed. Could not reproduce. Right? Yep. They made farm dogs. They were needing something they had a bunch of horses. They were breeding, raising horses, and they wanted a couple of dogs to just run loose on the place. And I said, I'll give you the dogs for free, but you got to have them fixed.
Yeah,
that's
still Culling, to me.
Yes, it is. That dog can't. Yeah, as exceptional of a dog as he was, as much as I love the dog, I don't have nothing out of him now. That line, as far as I'm concerned, that line's gone. Because he just was shit for producing. I mean, and as bad as I wanted him, I mean, I've got his papers sitting right next to me. He's been dead. Oh my gosh, I don't know how long he's been dead. And I've still got his papers sitting right here next to me on my desk, is how much he meant to me.
Yeah,
I would love to have something off of it, but he just
wasn't a producer. Crap. Yeah, I mean,
now the 2 dogs out of him that made, they both. Well, one of them never was bred. He's still alive. It's like he's 10 or 11, 12. He never was bred. The other one was bred several times and was a very good producer. I could have went to him. It just didn't work out. It just didn't work out for me. But, as good as a dog as he was, and as popular, he was popular because I posted a lot, and people would come from, and hunt with him, and we would go here and hunt, go there and hunt, and he just was a coon trigger. And when you got a dog that's different, you got 1,000 dogs, mountain curs, that are silent on track, 40 pounds, can wind a squirrel, hunt 300 or 400 yards. And then you throw one in there that's got a big ball mouth that's 65, 70 pounds, and that'll leave out and run like a hound. They draw attention.
Oh yeah.
And as well known as it was, somebody else would have just bred the crap out of him because he was a popular dog. And I just didn't see the need it. I wasn't going to just keep producing crap. I would, like I said, I'd love to have something off of him, but I mean, it's got to be about more than being that guy, being Mr. Popular. Having the guy that I would love to have had 40 people go, man, I got such and such dog off of Crockett. He was the best dog ever owned, blah, blah, blah. But I knew it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
So why keep trying? Why keep putting more junk out there?
And like you said, I think that's the hardest thing for people to grasp. They want to have it so bad that then they really start losing sight of what they're doing. That's when they just start breeding it to anything. Yeah. Then they're like, well, damn, it didn't work with this super female. Well, let me try this shitty female. And I've seen people do that. I have honestly seen absolute phenomenal dogs come out of some shitty dogs. I've seen that. And
oh yeah, you can. The whole genetics and breeding thing is. It's always been a big argument between folks. Just because the breeding best of the best don't mean you're going to get best. And breed, you can breed two dogs that's never been hunted and get a world champion, and it's possible. But look how many you would have to go through.
Oh yeah,
to get that. The odds are not good. And if you breed a dog that has everything you're looking for to another dog that has everything you're looking for, that doesn't mean that they're going to produce exactly that. But for me, it gives me a hell of a lot better chance of getting what I want. I agree, because I know the parents have what I want. Yep.
You got a blueprint to go by. You got something.
Yeah, you know what to expect. You breed a female that had never been hunted. She may produce well. How do you know? What is she gonna produce?
Yep.
How are they gonna hunt? How does she tree? What kind of nose she got? Can she cold trail? Can she not? Is she aggressive? What? You tell me. I just can't bring myself to do that. And it burns me up when people do it, but I can't go out there and there's only been a few other people's dogs that I've culled. I wish I could go out there and cull. I wish I could cull a few owners, but I can't. I can't do that. But me and some buddies were hunting one night, and we were all standing around talking to this guy, a buddy of mine, really, really good friend of mine. Really good friend. We were all, and he brought a guy with me, didn't know me. We were standing around, and his dog he ain't had her long. She wouldn't hunt. She was crap. He goes, man, I want to just shoot that son of a gun right there. Guess what?
Yep.
Yeah. He's like, I wasn't going to do that. I'm like, well, you shouldn't have said it, Hoss.
That's right.
Now, that's one less problem. One less mouth we got to feed right there.
Nathan done that shit to a dog from Mike Sapp. Mike, we got back, and he said, if that damn dog was slick tree one more time, he said, or something like that. I don't remember what it was. It was that damn Walker dog.
She would just quit a track if she couldn't figure it out and just tree.
Yeah. She wouldn't even finish the track. She was slick. That's what it was. Yeah. She was slick tree. And he had brought her down here from Michigan. And he said that. He left the dog with us, And he called me the next day. He said, did you go hunt that dog and see how she does? I said, that dog's no longer with us. He's like, what happened? I was like, well, didn't you say?
You gave clear instructions.
He said, if that dog slick trees again, I'd cull that sumbitch. Well, it's slick treed and that dog is culled. He's like, sir. Oh, damn. I was like, well, hey, don't say it.
That's right. Don't say it around me.
Don't say it. Nate would dearly depart it.
When you got 40, it takes just as long to feed a good one as it does a bad one. And
oh, man.
And when you got 40, it makes you feel a whole lot better when you spend that hour, 2, 3, 4 hours a day out there with good dogs. Because when they suck, it pisses you off. And I got to spend all this damn time.
Yep. We give them a lot of time to come around. And then Nate, he'll come in there. He'll be like, Dad, we got 1 or 2, whatever, younger dogs or not. I'm not trying to toot my own horn by no means either, but most of the time it's dogs we got from somebody else.
Yeah.
Somebody will send us a pup or hey, try this or whatever, and they don't work out. They don't come out to what we want.
Oh yeah.
And
like that's been the biggest thing is we want dogs that can road hunt, walk hunt, and cast hunt.
They can
do all three styles, and that's a lot to ask of a dog. But
it is. They're out there. They're
we got a yard
to have. If
I
want to be the best, if Dad and I want to be the best, that is what we got to have.
Yep.
And we got to have it in the rough version and the bay version.
Yep.
Or run and catch in a bay version. So it's like not only trying to set up one style of all three of those styles of hunting, but setting up two. And it's like it just takes a lot of dogs. And I mean,
I would like to. Go ahead.
I said, and there's a lot of dogs that do two of those things, and that's very irritating when you have a dog that walk hunts and road hunts, but he will not cast. And it's like, you son of a bitch, I just wish you would cast. And then there's some
cast is a must for me. Cast is a must for me. Absolute must.
And I think as we hunt more places and we get more pressured areas, especially with our hogs, it's became a must.
Yeah, for a long time it really wasn't honestly, I didn't want a dog that would cast far. I wanted a dog that would go 400 to 600 yards and come back, check in, because by that time we were moving. We moved constantly, but like Nate was saying, we get to some areas there's a lot of pressure. The hogs run nonstop, blah blah blah. If that son of a bitch is gonna have to get out there and hunt,
or if we done drove 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours to go hunt. Well, hell, I don't want the excuse to be, the pigs ain't on right here within, like you said, 400 or 500 yards.
Yeah.
It's like, well, shit, that's why we got the dogs. They'll go find them.
That's exactly right.
They're tools.
Yeah, like I said, I've only hog hunted. I actually went with hog dogs a handful of times. So I really can't say what, style of dog I would want if I was hunting, but I would think that I would hog hunt same way. I would want the same dog for hogs that I would for coon. I would want to pull up there, open the tailgate, drop the tailgate, and free cast my dogs a direction I want to go, and then go out and find me pigs and get them bait, and then me drive to wherever they're at.
There you go.
I would think that's the way I would want to hunt. I really wouldn't want to have to ride my wheeler or walk a dog all day long to get on pigs. And I'm sure there are guys that do that and it.
We do it too. There's some properties where there's not a lot of pigs. It's very thin, and the property's not that big.
Or the access.
So I was going to say, or bad access. So what we have to do is you got a rig hunt or you got a road hunt, and most of the time you're going to have a bait pile or a feeder. That's the only way you're going to bring them in, because, like I said, you get a dog that'll cast deep, you're off your property right as soon as you start. Some of these properties are 1,000 acres or less, 800 acres. Man, our dogs will blow through that shit.
Yeah.
But now if the hogs are right there, we'll get the race going, but then the hogs are going to run off the property. So you got to worry about that. That's why we try to have so many different, we try to have a dog for all the applications or a pack of dogs, but at the same time, we want to have a pack of dogs that can do every one of them as well.
Yes.
Right. I get that. Yeah. I get that.
It's tough though. Like you said, I think especially like where you're at, the properties you have, I would want a good deep cast dog. That's all I would want.
And when we say walk hunt, we also don't mean like the dogs are going like 40 or 50 yards. Because
we don't walk hunt at all no more. Really.
Yeah, very rarely. Only
if
when
I
it's
do,
rough.
we could take our catch dogs, and they got enough nose on them to do what we need to do for that. But
typically, if we walk hunt, it's going to be running catch.
Yeah, it's all going to be just nothing but catch dogs. Because if I'm walking, number one, I don't want to go 2 miles to get to the pig. I want them to catch that sumbitch as quick as possible.
Yeah, get it shut down.
Because I am fat and lazy.
I walk my pups. When they're when they come out of the starting pen, I got between me and my neighbors, we got a 100-acre block of hardwoods here, and I got trails that I walk. That's where I walk my pups. And every afternoon I come home from work, and whatever if I got 2 or 3 like my Kimmer pups, I had 6. I kept 6 in my starting pen, and I would get them out 2 at a time, and I would just take them walking. and the way I walk my pups is when they leave me and go ahead of me, I stop.
Yeah.
When they go up ahead and stop, and they turn around and look at me, I start walking.
Mm-hmm.
They keep running. When they continue ahead, then I'll stop. And that's kind of how I get mine to stay ahead of me and go hunt. I don't mind walking a pup at that point.
Yeah.
But, like my Missy pup now, she's 7 months old, and I get off my wheeler and I cut her loose. I expect her to go hunt. Now, she ain't going but 200-300 yards right now. She's 7 months old, and we're coon hunting. She ain't with a pack that's running. She's out by herself at night. But I did her the same way, and I use field edges as to give a pup direction. I turn them loose on them field edges, and that kind of gives them a direction to run, and it helps them get ahead of them. Plus, they can stop and turn around. They can see me from a lot longer distance on a field edge than they can walking through the woods.
Yeah.
So that part I don't mind walking the dog. But once they get to running and treeing and hunting, I just can't hardly. I just don't like hunting. I'm walking.
No, I mean, yeah, the way you're doing that right there, you're letting that dog know, that pup know, hey, it's okay to keep going. You're not setting a range for that pup, because there's too many people that get out here and they mess them up by walk hunting them. They will literally take every step that pup takes, and that all you're doing is walking the pup. You're finding the game for the dog. Shit.
Yeah. Just walking them over the track.
Exactly. All you're doing is just doing that. Now that's the same thing with rig hunting. I like to road hunt, and when I say road hunt, we put the dogs down and the dogs take off. We follow the dogs.
Right.
I go where the dogs go. There's a lot of times we don't get to road hunt very far because they'll go, down a field edge, and that's what our road hunt consists of. It's mostly just driving, field edges or something like that. And,
I've road hunted for squirrels before with a buddy of mine up in Jamestown, Tennessee.
Yeah, and we cover a lot of ground like that. But at the same time, those dogs, as soon as they pick up on it, they got enough bottom that they're going to stay with it until the track is finished. That's the main thing that I see with a lot of people. They make mistakes is the dog will stay with it for a ways and then it'll quit and come back. We want them to stay there till it's done.
That's right.
And like I said, Sunday we seen a lot of stuff happening with that Kimmer. He stuck with the track for 2.5, 3 hours. He could, like I said, the hog swam the Tennessee River on him, but he stayed right there and worked, trying to create something.
Yeah, it was through swamps.
He wouldn't come back, and that's fine with me. You know what I mean? Because eventually he's going to figure out that, hey, he's got to get some reps in. That was really his first track that he took by himself. He's going to figure out, hey, when they hit that water, I got to get there before that.
Right.
Or I got to stop them. But because he stayed out there, we sat right there and let him stay in that one spot for an hour and a half.
Yeah. Just let him hunt.
Just let him wear it out.
Yeah, you got to let them learn. I mean, if they learn it on their own, I think they remember. I used to, of course, I'm always learning myself, and I used to would get impatient, and I would run in and push that dog on.
Yep.
And go, okay, you'll find me. Then I realized that they're not learning how to finish those tough older tracks. Them slick coons or just a tough coon that's been run a bunch, and I was pushing them on. They wasn't learning. They're learning that, I can't figure this out. Let me just quit what I'm doing,
yep,
and I'll go hunt something else. And I don't want a dog quitting, unless I tell it to quit. So I quit. I started leaving my dogs alone. If I realize they're struggling with something, then I just, get on my phone, play on Facebook,
That's
or
right.
call somebody and talk,
Spend some time.
just do something else and let them try to get in there and figure it out and learn on their own. I think if they learn on their own, I think they remember it better. Maybe, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
if they learn it on their own, it's
well, I think it's
learning
just
them
like
lessons
a
the
human.
hard way.
It's just like a human or kid or teenager or something like that. They got to learn.
I feel like it's also like kind of the thing like, oh man, this thing's really hard. And then you experience something that's harder. And then the next time you come back to what you thought was hard, and it's like, oh, this ain't that bad. I can figure this out.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you retain, if I told you 10 times, hey, don't touch that damn stove, it's hot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that it's hot because I told you it was hot, but I had to tell you 10 times.
Yeah.
If I didn't say nothing to you and let you go up there and touch it one time, I wouldn't have to tell you 10 times.
There you go.
And that's kind of the way I try to do with the dogs. Instead of me going in pushing them off the track, I let, and when they figure it out on their own, I make damn sure they get the game, and then they don't have to. They know how to run that particular track the next time. They learn. A smart dog, they learn so fast, and they remember it. Once they run for me, what I think is they learn they run a tough track, get it treed, you shoot the coon to them, they know the next time they run up on a track like that, they know in their head, okay, if I do this will help me out, and then I'll end up getting my prize.
Yep.
I think that, to me, I just think that's how a dog thinks, from experience and watching them and messing with them.
Especially a dog with sense. That's all it should take. One or two times, and they're like, okay, this is what I got to do to get this.
Yes. Same thing is, I'm big on, I can't stand a dog kennel barking. To me, it's foolishness. It does zero but piss me off. Yep. For one, they got no business barking if they ain't on something or under something. It makes all the other dogs bark. They get hoarse. They're tired. When I get ready to go hunting, they've been standing out there barking all damn day. They ain't ready to go hunt. So I don't put up with it. None. We'll be eating dinner. And I'll say, y'all hear that dog? And my wife and kids are like, I do not hear nothing. And I'll open the door and there'll be a dog barking. I go, how the crap do you hear that? I'm tuned in it. I can open my door and whistle one time, and it is silence, because they know if I come out to that kennel and they're still barking, they know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. The dogs that don't learn that quick don't stay. Simple as that. Yeah. If they're too stupid, when I say shut up, if they're too stupid to shut up, they're too stupid to eat my feed. So I call them. I don't give a damn if they treat coons. If they're stupid, I don't want them.
I agree with that.
I want the best dogs. I don't want a good dog. I want a great one.
That's exactly right. There's a lot, I mean, like I said, I've probably called some dogs that I know I have. I've called dogs for things that other folks would put up with, and I'm not faulting those people for putting up with them. If that's their,
it's what works for them.
If that's their best, more power to them. Somebody's best truck they've ever owned might be a Ford Ranger, and I wouldn't piss on one if it was on fire. But that ain't my best.
Yep.
If they want to drive them, fine, but I ain't. I'm not going to put up no stupid dog. Ain't doing it. Yeah, and there's a lot of things there's a lot of ways a dog can be stupid. You got one that barks in the dog box. Son, I'm telling you something. I bought a dog from a guy one time. You could cut him loose, and he wasn't the best dog. I had him for I try to keep one. I try to give one the benefit of the doubt, and I get a dog in here, I'll give them 60 days, 60 nights. That's what I do. I give a dog 60 nights to show me that they can eat my feed. And I bought a dog from the guy. Man, you turn that dude loose. Now, he didn't hunt the fastest or the hardest, but when that son gun come treed, I'm telling you, man, it was lightning shooting out of his asshole. His eyes rolled back in his head, his ears straightened out, his toenails like extended like a mountain lion or something. This dude treed like Thor's lightning bolt. I mean, it was amazing. That son of a gun dog box from the time you put him in to the time you took him out. And after about probably, I think he got away with it for a week. And I mean, I tried. I'm not going to put no bark collar. And, I've got an anti-bark collar. But if you got to wear one more than a week, you're stupid. And I don't want you. I put a bark collar on him, and he would bark. It'd shock him. He'd shut up. He'd bark. It'd shock him. He'd shut up. Man, I tried pulling over on the side of the road. I'd get out, I'd smack him, put him back in the dog box. He wouldn't shut up. Finally, I took him out of the dog box, and that was it. That was it. The last I told my buddy who was riding on the road, I said, if this son gun barks one more time, when I pull over, that's it. I'm done with him. We got about a mile down the road, and he just squalled.
Oh yeah.
Pulled up on the side of the road. I got him out. That was it. I'm done. Smoked him. I was done. I probably spent in a 3 year time. I probably spent $3,500 in hauling fees, hauling junk in here.
Damn.
Yeah, ridiculous.
And that's the thing about it, though. That's your trials that you went through to get to where you're at. And a lot of people, they won't do that. Like you said, well, man, I paid $500 for this dog, and then I got $300 in this, getting him transported, and I've hunted him. I've been feeding him. I'll sell him for $1,000. No, he's a piece of shit. Don't do it.
Yep. I've made a mistake. There's 2 dogs in the last 20 years. There's been 2 dogs that, looking back, I made a mistake. I thought I seen something in them. It was something that I didn't like, but I thought I seen something in them that somebody else. I thought they were good enough that they weren't culls. They just wasn't exactly what I wanted. And I sold them both of them. One of them I actually traded for a 22 rifle, and I should have culled because he was a cull and the guy bred him. And I just created more crap. The other one, I give a lot for as a little bitty puppy, and it would tree a coon. Just didn't have no hunt, and I just, I thought, well, there are folks out there that don't mind walking dogs. Mm-hmm. They don't mind one that'll go, stay just ahead of it, 100 yards, walk down a trail and tree a few squirrels or a few coons or whatever. There's folks that, older folks that they can't follow a dog goes a mile. And I thought, well, I'll just sell her for puppy price, what I give as a puppy. And it was a mistake. The whole deal didn't go very well, and I should have called her. That does not happen. It has not happened since. Won't happen again. They'll not. I don't care how much money I got in here. And it wasn't the fact that I was trying to get my money back. I just thought that she was, I thought she was going to make something, and it was just a mistake. I was wrong, which, it happens one time,
That's right. Well, like you said, you learn to move on from it. There's a lot of people that don't.
Yeah.
They don't. They just keep doing the same dumb shit.
Yeah, I won't. That mistake won't happen again. It put. I know it put a bad taste in the fella's mouth for me. I apologize. And it is what it is. I just make sure that it don't happen again. If it's, and I'm not talking about 8, 10, 12-week-old puppies. If there's a puppy that comes through here, I don't like its ears, I get rid of it. If I give $300 for it, I'm gonna sell it for $300.
Yeah.
It's a 10, 12-week-old puppy. Somebody else might not give a crap what their ears look like. I do. I have standards,
Yeah.
But when they get a year and a half old and they're not quite what I want, they're not leaving here.
Yeah. Because
they're gonna leave here.
Yeah, but it ain't gonna be through no dog transporter.
Yeah, it's like the Hotel California. You can check out, but you can't never leave.
You can't never leave. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, Bubba, that sounds good right there. Sounds like a good note right there to call it on. We've been on this about what kind of time we got on this, Nate?
Couple 2.5, about 2 hours and 40 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I can talk. Look, my wife's probably ready to go to bed, but she's used to it. I told her when I do the podcast, she's like, "How long are you gonna be?" I don't know, an hour or so. She's like, "Yeah, 3 hours."
Well,
4
that's
hours.
what we usually try to get about two good hours. Because that's what all the listeners that we've talked to, and now there have been times where we've done a part 2 and stuff like that, just depending on what all it is. But we've done really good at keeping them about 2 hours or so, between 2 and 2.5.
That's what I like, a 90-minute to hour and a half to 2 hours is what I like listening to.
Because then, a lot of times it'll get to where we don't even realize we're talking about the same thing over and over, but we're talking about it in a different way. And some people, that's listening, they don't get exactly what we're saying. They might think, man, they'd already said that or whatever, but generally we keep it upbeat. But I do appreciate that you're not scared to talk about the culling practices and being able to do that and having to do that, because it's the truth. That's the hard truth. People don't want to talk about it. And we've talked about it in several different episodes. And it seems like we always get a pretty good response about it. And I'm just hoping that through doing this with multiple people, that they understand, that other people that are new to it, or even if they're not new to it, maybe they'll see the error in their ways and they'll be like, you know what, man, I am just putting out more junk. Instead of bettering the breed, I'm hurting it. And so, maybe they'll get all that stuff figured out. And so we, like I said, we appreciate you taking your time out and doing this. So far, this one, everything's went pretty good on this one. I think we got everything recorded.
Yeah, I've got I'm still recording on mine. So if something goes wrong, I'll just mail you a SD card over or meet you halfway or something like that. But
we'll come over and go coon hunting and get it.
Absolutely, or at least come over and drink whiskey with me.
Now I can do that. By God, I can do that. So, well, man, y'all make sure to check out Jeremy's segment on the Hunt Dog Public. Do you when are y'all gonna put your first ones out?
So I'm recording my first one. Of course, they've been doing it for like 2 years.
Yeah, and, I know. Yeah, they've been doing it for a while.
I'm recording my first official interview is going to be this weekend on my way to Indiana. So when I get back, I'm going to get it probably that next day. I'm going to go on and get it edited and make a few little, changes here and there to like maybe my intro or something like that. And I'm going to put it together and listen to it myself.
Yeah.
And then Cody is going to get with me and help me make sure that I know the exporting part, to get it on my laptop and get it over on the Podbean account. I don't have their account information yet because I had my own Podbean account. So I'm going to be putting it in through them. So I've got to get that info. So I'm hoping maybe in the next week. Okay. I don't know the order. They may already have something set up. So the next available time slot, I'm going to put mine out. Like I said, I'm going to try to cover some of the things that other folks don't want to talk about, like having to cull and training. A lot of folks don't want to talk about starting and training pups because they don't want to be chastised for their opinion, because there's no matter what, I'm going to say something that somebody's going to say, well, you're an idiot. Okay. Which is fine. Whatever. If they don't like it, they can turn the damn volume off.
That's exactly right.
They don't have to listen to it.
Don't have to listen.
That's exactly right. Just like on Facebook, scroll on up.
That's it.
Just scroll on by.
That's right. And they can find you on all your social media stuff. You're under Cane Creek, correct?
Yes, on my Facebook, I'm Cane Creek, and I do have a YouTube channel that in the wintertime I try to put my videos on, and it's that's Cane Creek Kennels on YouTube, and then we also have a Hunting Dog Public podcast Facebook page. They can if somebody wants to email me or something, if they got somebody they might want to hear from or a topic, a training topic they want me to discuss or get some information on, they can email me at canecreekkennels@aol.com. They can send me a message on Facebook. I'll give my cell phone number and I try to reply to every message. And if somebody wants me to call them, I try to make time to call them. But I really appreciate y'all asking me to come on and we'll have to sit down and do it again. We didn't even get talking about behind the leather business.
Oh no, we're gonna have to make a trip over there. We can sit there because you got all your equipment and we got equipment too. Like we could do a epic podcast sitting there, like you said. We can do we do one called Beer Time.
Yeah.
And I'm down with that.
Yeah. So we basically sit on the tailgate of a truck, drink cold beer with other guys, and we just talk. And so we'll have to do one called Whiskey Time or something.
Oh yeah.
Or just whiskey drink. Yeah.
Thinking drinking.
That's thinking drinking. Yeah. Hell yeah. That's right. That's what you call it anyway. So there's another one there. And no, I'd enjoy doing that. Maybe we can, like I said, maybe we can really get it together and come over and or you come over one weekend, we'll turn loose on some of the property we got, and we'll have us a good old time. And like you said, we get to talk a little bit about behind the levee, tell some stories, some of the old war stories from back in the 80s and 90s.
I'm down for that.
Hell yeah, man. That sounds good. Well, hey, y'all make sure y'all check out Jeremy and Cane Creek on
have
everything.
Have it all linked down below.
Yep. Nathan will have all the links down below. And Bubba, we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, my man. Well, until next time, we'll holler at you, buddy.
All right, buddy. See y'all.
Man. All right. That was Mr. Jeremy with Cane Creek. A wealth of knowledge. Like it. And dude, like his
got the passion.
Yeah, and he ain't talking shit either. Like he's for real. He's strict. Anybody
Since he said that
him,
Banny rooster on the gravel, he does remind me of little Banny. He's always
he's scratching.
He's ready to go.
He is ready to go. He loves doing it. He loves these dogs. He loves the hunt, the pups, the whole 9 yards. And if you got a chance to get something from him, you better get it. If you have a chance and you don't want it, you let me know and I'll just get it. So once again, we try to keep these rolling to y'all. We're trying to keep pumping them out. Y'all have any ideas or anybody that you know that would make a good guest? If you have any questions, you can holler at me or Nate. Also, don't forget we do our segment with Uncle Pat. If you got questions for him, we're always looking for questions. You can holler at me or Nate or Uncle Pat. The Boars N Broads guys, same deal. If you got something y'all want us to talk about, we're trying to get everybody on, once a month, maybe twice a month to just keep the loop going. And y'all just make sure y'all check us out on all our social media platforms and go to our YouTube channel. Make sure that you subscribe. We need some more subscribers on there. We're getting a lot of people watching and listening, and we're trying to put up more videos for you guys. So y'all make sure y'all subscribe, hit the like button, interact with everything, and we'll just keep putting them out for you.
Thank y'all.
So we appreciate it. Till next time, see ya.